Are you trying to find a nice place at the beach? Oh, maybe you're going to a new city for the first time ever and you want to stay in the cool, hip neighborhood. Maybe you're just going out to the middle of nowhere and you just don't want to stay at a hotel. That's where Airbnb has come in. Push a button and there is a home that could have been rented by somebody else. And that rental is destroying not only the fabric of housing, but the fabric of America and even the world. That's right. We learn about all of this on
Too Many Tabs.
Remember to smile.
Welcome to Too Many Tabs, a podcast where a husband and wife duo sit next to each other at, yes, it's actually two tables. Oh my God.
It's a table.
It's two tables that are pushed together to be
Don't tell
one.
anyone.
Okay, anyway, but this is a fun show
Yeah.
where one of us, usually Mrs. Pearlmania,
Yes. goes
and finds a thing they get interested in on the internet, starts clicking around through hyperlinks and more things, and then comes back and tells us all about what she has learned.
Yes, and today I wanted to talk about the rise and fall of Airbnb.
Airbnb. Yes, we all know Airbnb, right? We don't need to describe what that is. We can just leave that for context clues for everybody. No, Airbnb is a short-term rental service.
Yes.
Where people can rent out either a room or their home or an apartment or something, right?
Yeah, it started out as a room. It started out as subletting a room for short term for travelers. That's what the idea is.
Yeah, it started out as a room. How did it end up like this?
Yeah, no, but literally, how did we end up like this?
Yes, how did we?
So here's what happened.
Okay.
I got fed a lot of content about people being like, Airbnb is so over.
Yeah.
And I was like, they've been over in my mind. I don't Airbnb. I don't want to pay and then have to clean. That's
Yes.
the whole point of me getting out of this house. Is somebody else is going to make the bed.
We're hotel girlies.
Yeah, we're absolutely hotel girlies.
If there's anything about this podcast that you need to understand,
Yeah.
is if we're leaving the house, we're staying in a hotel.
We're staying in a hotel.
We're gonna stay in a hotel because this is what I want.
Yeah.
I want folded towels.
Yes.
I want sheets that are on the bed too tight.
Yeah, too tight.
I want to be greeted by somebody at a front desk. If your hotel has a kiosk and not a person,
No.
we don't stay at that hotel.
No, I need a person.
We need eye contact with a stranger
Yeah.
who is in a uniform.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I love it. I want to be handed 2 keys.
Yes.
I want it to be a little too cold when I get in there.
Yeah,
It's always a little too cold.
I want them to say, and by the way, we have you automatically get a credit. It's less than the continental breakfast.
Yeah.
But it's just enough that you feel like you need to spend it.
Also a continental breakfast.
Also a continental breakfast.
I want to get a continental breakfast.
Yeah, come on.
If I'm leaving the house, if I have driven, if I have paid for parking.
I want a banana that's somehow stale.
Yeah, you know what? It's weird.
It's weird.
Very brown, but yet green on the inside.
Yeah.
How?
But none of this is about hotels.
No, this is about Airbnb.
Airbnb.
But before we get started, okay, here's what happened. I did all this research about Airbnb and the 3 guys that are the founders.
Okay.
Okay, because I wanted to go through how it started, what it did to the world as a whole, and where we are now, right?
Okay, so this is the Airbnb triumvirate.
Yes, that's a word I don't know.
Okay, well that means 3 men. It's like the 3. That's like in ancient Rome. There was
So
a
what I
triumvirate.
did is I went up to the attic.
Okay.
In our attic, there is a lot of collectibles and action figures.
You could just say it's boxes of toys and comic books and video games.
That's where all of his things are stored because
Yes.
they can't be just around the house.
Well, not anymore. We have a toddler. A lot of
Yeah.
the things I have are chokeable because
Yeah.
they're like action figures.
Or they're still in the box, and you're like, no, it's still in the box.
Well, because he'll chew on the boxes.
Okay, so I went up there and I grabbed 3 action figures because the 3 main guys in this story that I'm going to tell you,
Yeah.
they're Brian, Nathan, and Joe.
Okay.
And I feel like the names are kind of interchangeable.
Yeah, those are just 3 guys'
And
names.
I need to be able to reference which guys I'm talking about. So I thought by bringing action figures into this, that way I could be like, no, I'm talking about Joe. No, I'm talking about Nathan or Brian. Because they're 3 very different guys.
Okay.
And so I brought you these 3 guys.
Okay, thank
I
you.
don't know who they are. Would you like to explain to me?
You brought me 3. Okay, this is an insane collection. You brought me Lex Luthor.
Okay, he's wearing green robot clothes.
Yes, you brought me Ganondorf from Legends of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time.
Sure, that was a name.
And you brought me Chris Benoit.
Okay, that's a wrestler. I can tell he's got wrestling clothes on.
Yeah, we'll just remember him as a wrestler.
Yeah.
You brought me probably 3 of the greatest villains of history and fiction.
Well,
and video
I
games.
nailed it because that's what we're talking about here.
Okay.
So this is Lex Luthor. That's Superman?
Yeah, he's Superman's chief villain.
Okay, and
Yeah.
then what's this guy?
This is Ganondorf.
But what's he do?
He's he's got like mystical powers. He's like a demon king sometimes.
He's a demon king.
Yeah,
Out of the 3, okay, who's the worst guy up here?
Well, only one of the three up here murdered his family and dogs. And so that's Chris Benoit.
Okay. In real life?
Yeah, in real life. It was not a story.
Because this is imagination, guys.
Yeah, no, these two are
imagination.
imaginary. I bought this before he killed his family.
Oh my God. Okay, so that guy, the worst guy, he's gonna be Joe. That's
Okay.
Joe.
All right.
Okay. Now, let's see. Brian, I'm gonna give Brian to the green guy.
Lex Luthor?
Lex Luthor. That's gonna be the
evil
green.
businessman.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And then I think Nathan will be
Ganondorf?
the guy with the big boobs.
Ganondorf. Okay.
That's who these three guys are.
Okay, so that's how when I'm getting confused as to who you're talking about.
Yes, because I think when I'm going through this, I got confused because I was just like Joe, Nathan, Brian.
Yeah, well, they're just three white guy names.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
These are I've already forgotten who they are.
Yeah,
and I have their names written down in front of me. Also, I love that we have an audio podcast that also has visual elements, and we're now adding in probably the most visual element possible.
No, but this is going to help even for the audio listeners because now
I'll be able to keep it
You'll
straight.
be able to keep it
Okay.
straight so that you can explain to them.
Okay.
Okay, it's October 2007. We're in San Francisco. A couple of guys, roommates.
Okay.
Brian, who was born in New York but has citizenship in France and Poland.
Okay.
And Joe, who's originally from Atlanta, Georgia, come up with the idea of hosting a bed and breakfast in their living room.
Okay, so hold on. So what you're telling me is Lex Luthor here and Chris Benoit
Yeah.
decide to hold a bed and breakfast in their living room.
Yeah, because they have this small apartment and they're barely making rent. They are not going to make rent this month. Like they're running low on cash.
Okay.
And there's this big conference coming to San Francisco called the Industrial Designers Society of America Conference. And so they know there's this big conference coming in town and they're like, listen, we got room in our living room. I don't even think they have a spare bedroom. I think it's like our living room.
Yeah, they're like, we have a futon.
Yeah, no, an air bed. They go and blow up an air mattress. So
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Airbnb, the air stands for air mattress.
Yes.
It's air mattress bed and breakfast.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's never dawned on me. The name has just always existed. By the time I heard of it, it was just Airbnb. And I was like, yeah, I guess it's because of like airdropping, like on the iPhone.
Nope.
No, it's literally.
It's an air mattress on a living room floor. And they also wanted to offer breakfast. Because it's like the bed and breakfast style.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I love a bed and breakfast.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
where they have them great bed and breakfast? Maine. Anyway.
They also have them in like any place that is small.
Okay.
Okay, like I've been a good bed and breakfast in North Carolina and all those other different things too. And again, a bed and breakfast, a little bit different than an Airbnb.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because again, there's like somebody there. There's like a setup. There's like a whole deal. There's like a paper. There's a sign-in sheet.
Yeah, a sign-in book, and you got to tell them what a great time you had.
Yeah, and then you go into a room full of dolls.
Yeah. Oh, there's always a room full of
always
dolls,
a room full of the
wooden rocking chair.
Yeah, and there's
everything smells like a gardenia soap.
And it's always too quiet.
Yeah.
It's always too. Remember we
we
stayed in that one in West Virginia.
Oh, that one was haunted AF.
Yeah, it was so haunted.
It was like you couldn't hear anything, but then you would hear footsteps and creaking wood, and you're like, "There is no one else here."
Yeah,
right
we
now.
were down the street from the courthouse where John Brown was executed.
Yeah.
Because we were in that area. I was like,
we went to go visit all the sites.
Yeah, we saw all the sites down
Shout
at Harper's
out
Ferry.
John Brown.
Yeah, but okay. So they create their own bed and breakfast with an air mattress.
They blow up the air mattress, put it on the living room floor, and then they're like, "We're also offering breakfast."
Okay, what is the breakfast?
Pop-Tarts.
That's it?
And coffee.
Pop-Tarts and coffee.
Pop-Tarts and coffee.
I mean, it's 2007?
Yeah.
That is a 2007 Reddit joke.
Yeah.
That's very Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
That's very Fedora, my lady. Come over to my house and we can have Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we also have a functional lunch of Hot Pockets.
I don't know what we're talking about.
What? I'm just making fun of like a Reddit moderator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what they sound like.
Oh,
like
it
that's
is?
the joke now.
Oh, okay.
The running joke is that they're all like, my lady, my kitten.
That guy that talks fast that you show me the videos of.
The guy that talks fast?
He's got the
Ben Shapiro?
No, the guy with the black fedora with the red and he's like, my lady, like that guy.
Oh, wait, no, you're talking about Onyx the Fortuitous.
Yes.
That's a character.
Oh.
That's a character that he plays.
Okay. Whoopsies.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, okay, this idea is very successful. They make rent, baby.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, that's his character.
Oh.
Onyx the Fortuitous. I couldn't remember what his catchphrase was. You're like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Because he's trying to play it off as being cool. So they make rent.
They make rent.
Okay, so they make rent
And they
by
realize
blowing up
that
an air
this
mattress.
is a really good business idea.
Okay.
Okay. In February 2008, Nate. So they bring in this guy, Nathan. I cannot say his last name.
All right,
I'm
so
not going to try.
This is Nate. He's Ganondorf.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Nate.
he's the third. Let me see. Where is it written?
Okay. Right here.
Oh yeah, I'm not even going to try to do that.
No,
that is the most Polish last name I think I've
Yeah.
ever seen in my entire life.
I'm
Here's what we're
not-
going to do. I want to again apologies to the audio listeners. But we can't even try that one.
No.
That is too many. That's too many consonants
You can't
in a row.
put CZYK all next to each other like that.
It doesn't work. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have Mr. Third put it on the screen.
Yeah.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, it's on the screen. You try to pronounce that.
Let us
okay.
know.
And then type down in the comments how you would say that phonetically.
Phonetically.
Yeah.
So this guy Nate shows up.
Yeah, who's being played now by Ganondorf.
He was Brian's former roommate.
Oh,
Okay.
they're ex-lovers.
No, they're ex-roommates.
Oh, they were roommates?
Okay.
Sure.
So
Lex Luthor and Ganondorf used to be roommates together.
yes.
Okay.
And they hire Nathan for this new business they're going to start. He's going to be the third co-founder of their new venture, and he will be the chief technology officer
Got it.
of the company, which is called Airbed and Breakfast.
Air, bed, and breakfast.
Yes.
Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah, I can see. All right, I hear that now.
Yeah.
So basically, he's coming in as like the webmaster. If the button, we're going to figure out how to get the buttons to click. How do
Yeah.
we set up the map where you can find stuff?
Yes.
All those different things. He's the technology guy.
Yeah.
These two are kind of like, almost like ideas men. It sounds
They're
like.
ideas guys. They
have interest in tech.
Yeah, they're tech guys in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But they're definitely like of that whole San Francisco, we're coming up with ideas.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Like when they mess everything up on purpose.
Oh, they're disruptors.
Yeah, they're like, we're disruptors.
We're disrupting.
Okay. So the thing about Nathan, I looked him up. I was like, well, what did he do to like where does his background in this? Nathan's been working in software IT stuff since like high school.
Okay.
His web hosting business that he started provided services to spammers and was once listed on the Spam House Project Registry, which is known as the Registry of Known Spam Operators, which listed the top spamming services. It was also considered a most wanted list of professional spammers to help customers with vetting and reducing spam traffic. So he was on his first business was on that list.
So wait, hold on. You mean to tell me that one of the founders of Airbnb
Yes.
is spammed everyone in the world?
Yeah, historically, the top 200 spammers on this list were reported to be responsible for 90% of all spam.
Okay. So the guy who I have here as Ganondorf
Yeah.
was an evil email wizard
Yes.
who would help scammers and spammers and other people just inundate email inboxes.
Yeah.
And destroy fun
Yeah.
because people didn't have the right tools to be able to fight against this spam.
Yeah.
Because he was so early into it.
Uh-huh.
And that's one of the founders of that organization.
Yes.
Okay. You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
If only we had a sponsor who could help people deal with spam. Oh, wait, we do. And we'll be right back after this. I was born private. You were born private. Kids today are basically born into an onboarding funnel because that's how the internet works now. We're not even being dramatic about it. This is just how everything gets processed. The second a child is born, they are immediately being tracked and profiled across the internet. That's why I partnered with today's sponsor, Proton Mail. A child can start accumulating a digital footprint before they're even born. Then it keeps growing. Email accounts, school platforms, apps, phones, social media, every login, every sign up, this will only take a second, quietly adds to an online identity that those kids didn't even ask for and they don't control. And honestly, if you think that sounds exaggerated, look at your own inbox. Most of us made our first email when we were way too young to understand what we were signing up for. We just wanted to use the internet. Now, that same account is full of spam, ads, tracking, and companies that still somehow think you need 20% off yoga mats. That was our version of digital childhood. The reality is most email services are built around collecting data, not protecting it. That's why Proton Mail takes a different approach. With end-to-end encryption, no ads, no tracking, and no profiling of your activity. You can sign up for a free account and start using an inbox that's actually private from day one using our link, proton.me/Pearlmania500. I'm going to say that to you again, proton.me/Pearlmania500. Hey, check those show notes for a direct link or type it in the URL yourself, proton.me/Pearlmania500. Thanks for sponsoring the show, Proton Mail. You know, Mrs. P, anybody who has joined us on our Patreon and is listening to the show ad-free will not understand the joke that just happened.
Nice.
They will not know how they can use Proton Mail to protect themselves from spammers like Nathan, who is being played by Ganondorf and is one of the co-founders of Airbnb. Jesus Christ. Okay.
So these three dudes put together a website that offers short-term living quarters and breakfast for those who were unable to book a hotel in what was, quote, a saturated market.
The breakfast has already fallen away, by the way.
Yeah, the breakfast is not there anymore.
We've stayed in Airbnb together a couple times.
Yeah.
I've never been offered a breakfast once.
No.
The breakfast died immediately.
Yeah.
I think that was the first thing to go.
Yeah.
Enshittification is real.
Yeah.
But Enshittification is when...
Not even a Pop-Tart.
Not even a Pop-Tart.
Guys, put a Pop-Tart out.
I honestly, there's not a speck of food anywhere.
No.
Because they're like, no, we can't trust you.
Sometimes you'll find like salt and pepper.
Sometimes. Sometimes you'll find a ketchup packet.
Yeah.
But no, the thing is, real fast, enshittification, for those of you guys who don't know, is a term that was brought up a few years ago, which is about how services, especially web services, get worse over time. Where they start out with this big thing, oh my God, we're going to do this stuff, we're going to help you with all these different things, we're going to be cheaper than hotels, we're going to give you free breakfast, oh, our rides are cheaper than taxis, all these different things. And then slowly over time to make money, after they finally get a user base, over time, they start cutting services. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And this has already happened with Arab Bed and Breakfast.
Yeah. So the site airbedandbreakfast.com was launched right before the 2008 South by Southwest in Austin, Texas.
Everything evil starts there. That's where South by Southwest is famous because Twitter came from that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was like a big part of like Twitter's like big launch. Now when you go to South by Southwest, just people in Patagonia vests being like, maybe we should deport people using drones. And you're like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I keep getting offers to go. I don't want to go. Listen, if you live in Austin, Texas, I'm sorry. That's what I want to say. I'm sorry. I went there years ago. It was cool years ago.
Yeah.
I went back 2 years ago, and you live in basically LinkedIn.
I went to Austin, Texas in 2003. It was pretty cool.
You don't want to go back.
No, I'm not going back.
No, I know, but it's like finding your old cool hippie friend who's going MAGA now.
Oh.
And they're now part of like the weird
crunchy to MAGA pipeline.
Yeah, but it feels Austin. You know what it is? Austin, Texas feels like when your weird hippie friend from 2003, who was like following fish around and selling pipes.
Yeah.
They now
very specifically a person I know.
Very specific.
Yeah.
Now they go to a mega church that has a coffee shop in it.
Yeah. They
Okay.
love, Hillsong. We didn't know about Hillsong.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when they did this South by Southwest big launch, they generated exactly 2 bookings.
2?
One of which was Brian.
Oh, Lex Luthor. Okay. All right. So getting one booking though is still pretty big.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's good.
It is pretty good. I will say that is amazing.
Really funny.
That's very funny. I mean, they're entrepreneurs though. They're trying.
They're working it out.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they were like, I'm guessing from 2007 to 2008. We're talking about maybe like in 6 months to go from like a website launch to getting people to trust it is very difficult.
Yeah, to getting people, at least one person, to trust staying in a stranger's house.
Yes. Just a random location.
Yeah.
That's wild.
In Texas.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's the thing. Like you said, they got this business together, but they need more capital.
Yes,
they
they need
don't
money.
have enough money.
Yeah.
And this was hard to you know how like all these stories about founders, they're always like, it started in a garage, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
So like,
Do you know why that is?
why?
It's because it's Apple lied about it.
Okay.
You know, Steve Jobs?
Yeah.
He was famous. Like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, their biggest thing actually was that while they did understand the tech, they were marketers.
Yeah.
And they were good at explaining and selling the tech. So they would have their weird nerd to the side who actually did everything.
Yes.
And then they'd come forward and be like, let me explain this to you in plain terms. Like
The light bulb guy.
Yeah, light bulb. Yeah, Thomas Edison.
Yeah.
Very similar in that sort of way.
Because Edison stole from Tesla?
Tesla was one of Edison's workers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like, he was one of many. He had a ton of guys. But, part of it's a salesmanship job. And what a lot of them love to do is they go, oh, we're not like those big evil corporations like IBM. Because back by the 70s and 80s, IBM was this massive international conglomerate.
Yeah.
Like there were whole towns, like Rochester, New York, I think it was like propped up.
That
because
and the Kodak.
Yeah, no, these big, massive companies. And so when people would see them like, oh, they can't innovate anymore. They're not like us, scrappy nerds in a garage.
Yes.
Now, here's what's crazy.
Yeah.
They never had, the garage story's fake.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but you know who started in a garage?
Who?
IBM.
Oh.
Because the massive conglomerates always do start in a garage, and then they grow, and they gobble up all their competition.
Yes.
That's how this works. And so all of these companies, there was especially a thing in the 2000s and the early 2010s, all of these companies had to pretend, oh, we were just some scrappy guy. And it was like, yeah, you were a scrappy guy, but also like you went to Yale. Your parents all have
a lot of money.
Hyperlinks on Wikipedia.
Yep.
Everyone you're connected with around you is super rich. And is that Peter Thiel in the corner? It's like Elon Musk claiming his dad didn't own an emerald mine. You know what I mean? That's what all of this is. These guys, they need money, but they need money. They need money.
So, okay, I don't know. Some articles said that they were in debt. Some people were just saying they're trying to build capital. Whatever it is, Brian and Joe have this idea that how to make some quick cash.
Quick cash.
They get a printer in their apartment.
Okay.
And they start.
They're able to get a printer to work, so they're good at tech.
There you go. IT right there.
Yeah.
They print out 1,000 fake cereal boxes. So like they print out this cardboard and then they fold it up to make cereal boxes. And then they order bulk cheapo cereal to put in them. And they sell these fake cereal boxes at the 2008 Democratic National Convention. They were two different boxes. There was Obama O's and Captain McCain's. The cereals, it said Obama O's, the breakfast of change, and Captain McCain's, a maverick in every bite. They sold each box for $40.
$40?
Yes.
So they're taking knockoff cereal.
Yeah.
The bottom shelf.
Yeah.
The bag cereal that anyone who has ever been tight on money is upset about.
Yeah.
Even though it's fine.
It's pretty good. used to like the Lucky Charms ones.
Yeah, the knockoff Lucky
the
Charms.
knockoff Lucky Charms is a
yeah,
good Lucky
the
Charms.
giant bags though, and which a lot of people around this time, a lot of people were starting to understand what those were about because we're in the 2008 recession is beginning.
Yep.
So they take all of these, they put the bags inside of boxes they print.
Yes.
With a cartoon Barack Obama on them.
Yeah.
And a cartoon John McCain.
Yes.
And they sell them for $40.
$40 each.
Can I tell you what's insane about this? They didn't need the cereal.
You didn't have to put the cereal in there.
No, you didn't. You could have just sold a fake box.
Yeah.
Because I know this.
Because we have a fake box of cereal.
We do. It's upstairs somewhere.
I should have got it in the attic.
Yeah, you should have. You went up there and got this.
They're bootios.
You know what? Hold on. I'm going to get it. I'm getting it.
You're never going to find it.
I know exactly where it is. It was an empty box. Here's the thing. When we got this.
Yeah.
This was the New Day. They were WWE Tag Team Champions. Amazing.
My favorite.
They had a whole joke about bootios.
Yeah.
And they sold.
Also, they're gluteus free. It says it right there.
Yeah, it says it here on the side. They had there's so many jokes all over this box.
Yeah.
They were our favorite tag team back in the day.
Yeah.
And this is just an empty box.
Yeah.
When we bought this, it wasn't even in box shape.
No.
It was flat.
I had to fold it.
We had to fold it and do the punch cards ourselves. These fools did extra steps. They're like, no, we have to put the cereal in it. Later at FYE, the old CD store, they would sell it like with the cereal in it. But by that point, like the joke was already done.
Yeah.
By the way, this is from like 2015. So wrestling is always 7 years late. Because these guys are doing this in 2008.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the cartoon on there and everything. But we love you, Kofi Kingston.
Yeah.
We love you, Xavier Woods.
We love you,
Biggie.
I love you, Biggie.
Yeah. Anyway, there we go.
Okay, so
Also, I found my Eric Bischoff action figure.
Eric, we'll save him for later. Maybe we'll need another character.
We might need another character because Eric Bischoff is also very evil.
He is? Is he a wrestler?
No, he was like the runner of WCW, the showrunner.
So that's wrestling.
Yeah, he was wrestling adjacent. Yeah, he's in wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him a wrestler though.
They made $30,000.
Selling fake cereal?
Yes.
They made $30,000.
Yes. Also, I do want to
They're
know,
selling fake cereal to Democrats?
and Republicans.
Oh, okay. Because you
And
said they were just at the DNC.
They were at the DNC, but they also, I think, found a way to sell the McCains.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, gotcha.
But they did sell more Obama O's.
Of course.
For the record. Just for the record.
Can I tell you, I had so much Obama merch. I had so much knockoff Obama merch back in the day. Because anytime I saw it, I was like, this is hilarious. I had one that was a Washington football team shirt.
Okay.
And it was Obama, in our old name. And it was Obama in the Washington football team jersey.
Yeah.
Right? And it was McCain as a Cowboys player.
Oh.
And he was like laying like all like beat up on the ground and like Obama was standing over him. Almost like that famous picture of Muhammad Ali boxing where he's like, ah! It was like that. And I bought it. It was like on a street. I was like in DC, and it's just a street guy was selling. And I was like, yeah, I have to own that.
Absolutely.
I have to own that. And it's so crazy. There was so much cool Obama stuff. And this is the thing. This is what Democrats always forget. It's like you got to have a guy that people want to buy shit of his face.
Yeah.
You have to. Like, yeah, is Trump evil? Yes, Trump's evil. But Trump got merch.
He loves
And
merch.
once somebody buys a piece of merch, they got to vote for you at least once.
Wow.
If you own the hat.
Yep.
If you own the hat, you're like, well, now I'm an asshole. I bought the hat, but I don't vote for the guy.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, the vote's free. It only costs your soul.
Wow.
So they sold more Obama.
Yeah, then McCain's,
That's
which I
incredible.
think is better than those like when they do the surveys where they're like, oh, we're doing calls and we found that like Obama's gonna win by 30%. I think the cereal predicted this.
The Halloween mask is another one like that.
Oh, really?
So whenever they do like the big presidential nominations and they're like Halloween masks, like they'll be like the fake Hillary or fake Trump mask or all those different things. Usually the mask that sells more is the one. But the thing is that data is skewed.
Yeah.
Because typically if the president is the incumbent, then they have 5 years of backstock of mask.
True.
Right? The other thing in this is that the Obama O's are knockoff Cheerios.
Yeah.
And Captain McCain's are knockoff Captain Crunch.
Yep.
I believe Cheerios sell more than Captain Crunch.
Oh yeah, because Captain Crunch hurts your mouth.
Yeah, that's the alleged.
Roof your mouth.
Yeah, I've never had
What do you
Captain.
mean alleged?
I don't know. I've never had them.
Okay, I know we've talked about this before. I know that I knew that information, but I'm shocked yet again.
What? I've never
You
had
never
Captain.
had Captain Crunch
There's okay.
with the berries in it. It's a great cereal.
Listen, how many cereals are there?
A billion.
Yeah, exactly. All right. It's being like, oh my God, you've never. It's like. Yeah.
It's not climbing a mountain. It's just getting a box of cereal. They used to be like $2.
You know this about me.
I know you hate trying new things.
No, but also you know that if I already have a thing that I like, why would I risk? Because every bite is an investment.
I know.
Okay? Because
Listen.
I already like Apple Jacks. I already like Cheerios. I already like Frosted Flakes. I already like Corn Pops. I already like, I think Trix. I think I had Trix. I think I like Trix.
I love Trix.
Yeah. No, I'm saying though, like this is a list.
Fruit Loops.
Chex Mix. I like Chex Mix. I love a Fruit Loop. Love a Fruit Loop. I love Fruity Pebbles.
Ooh,
I love a
Fruity
Chocolate Pebbles. There's all these different cereals that I
Cocoa
like.
Puffs?
Of course I like a Cocoa Puff. I just said Chocolate Pebbles. It's Cocoa Puffs. It's just
That's
tiny
not
ones.
the same.
I like Rice Krispies.
Oh, love
I love Rice Krispie treats. But now listen, did you hear all those options I just had?
Yeah.
Why the fuck do I need to go try Captain Crunch?
It's weird. Okay? It's weird.
Okay, it's weird that I've never had them.
Yes.
I've had Smacks.
Well, yeah, they're good.
I've never done Smack, but I've had Smacks.
Sugar Smacks. Okay.
Shout out Mitch Hedberg.
Paul Graham, co-founder of the Y Combinator, which I cannot deal with this name. The Y Combinator is the name of a business that's a startup funder. It's an accelerator program.
So, do you know, okay, remember when we used to watch the show Silicon Valley on HBO?
Yes.
The scummy guy who got like Me Too'd and tried to do a bomb threat on a train?
The curly hair guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy who was in Deadpool. I
Yeah.
can't remember his name.
I know.
Anyway, his house is a combinator.
Got it.
And so the whole thing with these type of places is like they would set up this area.
They call them hype houses now.
Yeah, it basically is. It was basically a nerd tech hype house.
Hype house.
Where you come together and you're supposed to throw ideas at each other and maybe like in passing, you're like, I can't get this line of code to work. And then someone come over and go like, click, click.
Yeah.
And now that's how we ended up with the destroyed world.
So the Y Combinator, Paul Graham owned, and he is like, I'm going to put you guys, the airbedandbreakfast.com, in my accelerator program. Why did John Fetterman just show up?
Because he's going to be Paul Graham.
Okay. And this is literally a quote from him. He did not believe in the ideas of strangers sleeping in people's homes. But he did say, quote, if these guys can convince people to pay $40 for a $3 box of cereal, they can probably figure this out.
Here's what's crazy is it was not even a $3 box of cereal.
No,
it was like
less.
It was even less. Is wild.
Yeah.
That's insane. But he's also right.
Yeah.
If you can get people,
If you can sell ice to Eskimos,
yeah.
there you go.
Well, that's the whole thing with Wolf of Wall Street, right? Sell me this pen. That was his whole thing. Sell me this pen.
It's whatever one. That's
Well,
a
that's
Sharpie.
a Sharpie.
Yeah, it's a Sharpie.
Well, it's better than a pen.
Yeah.
You know? It's great times.
You gotta write. I keep Sharpies all over the house.
You do.
So I use them for everything.
Yeah, and I always need to find them when I have to write the dog's name on the little bags before he goes into boarding.
You gotta put them in the back of all the clothes for the babes.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Okay.
Sharpies really run our life.
They really do.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Y Combinator gave them training, $20,000 in funding in exchange for 6% interest in the company. So this is Shark Tank.
Yeah,
We're
no, it is
describing Shark
100%.
Tank.
No, it is. That's just how it worked before the television cameras came in there.
Yeah.
And before the what's the bald guy's name on Shark Tank?
Don't know.
You know the one I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that bald guy. Yeah, before the incident with the boats.
I don't know what you're
I would say more about the bald guy from Shark Tank's incident with him and his wife and the incident of the boats. But anytime you bring it up, he threatens to sue your entire family, and then you have to release statements about it. So I can just say that the bald guy and his wife from Shark Tank had an incident with a boat.
Okay.
And you can figure out the rest of it from there.
Wow. Okay, so after all this training and the stuff that they got from Y Combinator, they were able to really build up the business model.
Okay.
And by March of 2009, the site had 10,000 users and 2,500 listings.
Wow.
So.
And you know what, Mrs. P?
Yeah.
What I'm going to say to that is the beginning of a great story.
Yeah.
And we're going to learn more about that story right after this. When you start a business, there are a lot of what ifs. And Shopify is here to help. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses. They have easy-to-use tools to help your business grow, all in one place. You can customize your brand in the Shopify Design Studio. You can reach customers quickly with the Shopify marketing tools. Shopify can even help manage inventory and international shipping. It's time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/too-many. Go to shopify.com/too-many. That's shopify.com/too-many. All right, Mrs. P, let's continue with the rise of Airbnb.
Yeah, so they're going to change the name in 2009 as well. The company changes the name to Airbnb to eliminate confusion over air mattresses.
Well, this is just like in The Social Network, right? With Justin Timberlake, where he's like, drop the from thefacebook.com.
Oh, I know.
It's also like a short. Well, okay, well, it's a famous like meme from it though, which is like there's a certain thing, especially back in the day with websites, where the .coms got so confusing.
Yeah.
And like the names would be too long. Like that's why we do Pearlmania500.net.
.net.
To join us for ad-free listening. And the reason why though is it was just the more letters you also have in a website, the more chances you have to misspell things.
Oh, absolutely. It's like an email.
100%.
Like if you have a really long last name, your first, middle, last name email, I'm getting it wrong every time.
Oh my God, my old corporate email just kept going, and I just felt so.
And they would always use like in a corporate email, they'd be like first name dot last name, something to do with the corporate itself at the corporate itself.
Yeah,
and they wouldn't like shorten it to like abc.com. They do the full name, and you're like, guys, no one wants to do this.
Well, worst one I had was mine was like A Perlman at company.
Yeah,
and I was like, why couldn't you just do Alex P at company? Everyone knows how to spell Alex, and then slowly I learned over time that they don't.
They don't know how to spell
Yeah,
it.
they don't. And so I would have to sit there and be like, it's P.
That's why we go by the nickname Xander.
No, we don't. We don't go by the nickname anything.
That's why I'm calling you Xander.
No, cut that out. We're editing that out. Don't leave that in.
So Brian is also running a blog on Airbnb.com at this point.
Oh yeah, this is back when
they're doing like the SEO blog stuff.
Yeah. Well, they have at this point. You said they have 10,000 users, 2,500 listings. They're trying anything they can to break through.
Yeah. So Brian's writing a blog on the website. And there apparently a host house was vandalized in 2011, and he was criticized publicly for his handling of the situation, specifically because the victim, the host, came out and publicly contradicted everything he said. So this led to Brian writing a public message on this blog acknowledging his failure and announcing an expansion of the Airbnb customer service team and the creation of a special fund for hosts should similar situations arise in the future.
So, you know what's funny about this is immediately I'm struck by the fact that they probably didn't have much customer service to begin with.
No.
Because, again, a lot of these websites, when they first rolled out, and eventually they became apps, many of them just didn't have people.
No.
You just would be emailing somebody and hoping that it would get down to somewhere. The contacts were always hard to find.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like then in like after like 2010 we had like a couple years there where you could get to somebody because they realized that we hated not getting to anybody and we could get somebody, but now it's happened again where now it's just AI bots.
Yeah, now it's just back to
and
AI
it's like
bots.
you're messaging and they're like the AI response. You're like, I don't want it. The AI response is just what's in the FAQ of your website. I've already read that.
Yeah.
I didn't email you without reading the FAQ.
The other thing though is it feels like almost every website and company now, I feel immediately like I have to do the operator.
Yeah.
Or just start. There's like certain keywords you can say that will trigger a human response. I can't say them on here or else I'll get demonetized. But threats help. I do find this so funny though that his immediate intention was to lie about the victim.
Yeah.
Like that's immediate intention.
Yep.
But also them setting up a fund is something similar that Uber and Lyft have done.
Yeah.
I was a Lyft driver for a little bit and they always reminded me pretty regularly, and other Lyft drivers would tell me all the time, is like there was a fund in case someone threw up in your car.
Yeah.
Like they had they had to eventually get partnerships with car cleaning companies and others like in the area in Philadelphia and like in New York, everywhere else. Because they had so often someone who was blackout drunk that a taxi would not pick up.
Yeah.
But because you're on an app, you're like, well, I can't dump them. If I dump too many of them, I'll get in trouble.
Yeah.
So you put this hammered person in your car and then they just throw up all over your backseat.
Yeah.
And now you got to pay for the cleaning. You're out the money, all this other different stuff. And just a nightmare. So
one time I was blackout drunk and taking a cab because this is before the Ubers and the Lyft in the world.
Yeah.
And we just had cab drivers. It was the 333 number of
Yeah.
course. I had it saved in my phone. So you just call a cab. That's how it was back then.
Because you got sober before apps.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like Mrs. P got sober and then they invented apps the next day.
And I was like, dang.
Yeah. It would have been so easy.
I really could have messed around.
You could have
just
hit it. You could have hit two buttons.
Woo! And instead of being like, what was the number again? 333. 3333. Got it. But I'll never forget one time I got schmammered, as one does in their early 20s, when these guys were busy expanding and building a company. I was like, let's go party.
Yeah, you're out partying and they're pouring bagged cereal into a box. Okay.
Yeah. We're having different life experiences. And but I was in this cab and I left my ID in the back seat because I didn't get sick. I didn't get sick ever. Okay. I don't know. But I know that I lost my ID.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that, right? I didn't know I lost my ID in this car, whatever. Next morning, I get up, I go back to work at the bartending job I had. And one of my coworkers who lives on the other side of the city, we do not live anywhere near each other. She comes into work and she goes, "You'll never believe what I have." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Your ID." And I was like, what? Apparently that night, that cab driver over the course of zip-zopping around the city had picked her up on the other side of town, not at the same job. She wasn't working the night before. And picked her up and drove her somewhere else. And my ID was on his dashboard. And she was like, "I know that girl." And he's like, "Can you prove it?" And she went through her probably the slide phone and found a crazy picture that we would have had. and was like, this is her. And he was like, got it. And just gave her my ID.
Oh
he
my
was like,
God.
not my problem. And then she brought it back to me the next day.
That's amazing.
And that's why cab drivers will always be better in my heart
than
Lyft and Ubers.
I also miss the vinyl leather seats.
Oh, yeah. And the thing where you would like, it was like a card slammer.
And then the
You
slide
put it
in the
in and
middle.
you slam it through.
Yeah, because they had the little
Yeah,
drawers.
bulletproof glass.
Bulletproof glass. You don't get that in an Uber.
Yeah, and you could smoke. Anyway, so they begin rapid expansion in Europe immediately. As soon as they can. Airbnb.
Yeah.
They also, at the same time, the U.S. had started easing restrictions in Cuba. So Nate oversaw the expansion into Cuba,
Ganondorf.
making it one of the U.S.'s first companies to do so.
This is so funny.
Yeah.
This is incredibly funny. And I think a lot of people forget. And what year is this around?
This has to be like 2011-ish.
2011. Okay, because this is right around, this is Obama years.
Yes.
Everyone forgets that when Obama was president,
Yeah.
we tried to actually end the embargo of Cuba.
Yes.
And by we, I mean Obama specifically.
Yeah.
And there was a big move to normalize relations with Cuba.
Yeah.
And a lot of people actually were able to go visit Cuba and all these things. Now, we currently, and by we, I mean the United States government, specifically Donald Trump and Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, are trying to kill almost everyone in Cuba.
Yes.
They keep threatening to conquer it. And they've been putting it underneath a massive blockade. It's actually beyond the embargo that we've had for almost 75 years. And it's a horror story.
Yes.
And it's one of those things that always like gets me really, really frustrated when people are like, both parties are saying blah, blah. Like, no, we had a president who, Barack Obama, who was like, this is dumb. Like, what we're doing down there is dumb. And also, I always will argue against the Cuban embargo on one thing. The reason why the Castro government was able to stay in power as long as they have, it has been because of the embargo.
Yeah.
Because you've given them an outside force to always be able to rally people around, which is the United States American government, because they're actively trying to harm people down there. I know people who went down. There was a recent trip of like 150 content creators. My friend Christian Devine went.
Yeah.
Hassan Piker was down there. A bunch of different people who went down. And every single one of them I know who went and saw, they were loose. They could just walk around, go talk to random people. When they came back, every single one of them now, it's just like, we are monsters.
Yeah.
And so the fact that Airbnb, it opens a little bit and they're like, opportunity. Oh my God, we can turn their homes into hotels.
I remember in it had to be like 2011.
Yeah.
Because Obama was making headway on people traveling to Cuba. And I was in college at the time, in night school.
Yeah.
And the program I was in, they had a thing where you could go take a semester and go to Cuba as like a learning thing.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to you about it and being like, this would be so cool. I would love to go to Cuba as part of our education.
But you were working at a bowling alley.
But I was working at a bowling alley
Yeah.
and they were like, we can't give you time off.
Yeah. I've always, my dad went to Cuba. My dad and my grandfather went to Cuba.
Yeah.
And back in the 70s, because that was back, again, before Reagan.
Yeah.
I think it was when Carter was president. Even President Carter was like, this is kind of stupid, right? It's like, wait, why are we doing this again? It was still over like the nuke thing from 1963.
Yeah.
That's wild. Maybe we should move on. And it's a fucking nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
Okay, so in 2015, Brian was included on the Forbes list of America's richest entrepreneurs.
Lex Luthor,
Brian, was also named by President Barack Obama the presidential ambassador for global entrepreneurship.
I think a lot of people forget that during the Obama era, right, there was beyond the hope of just everything getting better, there was a hope around tech, specifically technology like this. And there was so much, this is going to get better. We're going to figure out these things. But there's a famous story of Jon Stewart being at the Obama White House.
Yeah.
And he's talking to guys like Jeff Bezos and others. And they're all talking about like things like Airbnb, things like Uber. The big thing that happened with this technology wasn't that it was groundbreaking. They just figured out a logistics service to be able to get people to be able to list their homes.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, an Airbnb is a tenement.
Yeah.
Right? This is still just like a one night, you can sleep in this random room in somebody's house. We got away from that over time as like our society progressed, as we moved out of having slums, as these different things happened, as people didn't need to have a random stranger sleep in their house because they had good money. They had a union job. They had health care. They had enough money that could pay for fucking food. The minimum wage was more than 1 pound of beef. Like, there was like a difference, right?
Yeah.
And these guys all sat around, these fucking lunatics,
How did John Fetterman get here again?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
If we're going to show a bunch of evil people, we're going to get it riled together. But these fucking lunatics, they figured out a way to become the middlemen in people, what they were listing then as side hustles.
Yes.
And this side hustle culture of whether it be Uber, Airbnb, Instacart, any of these different things.
Yeah.
These were supposed to be that extra little bit of money because your main job wasn't paying enough because we just went through the Great Recession.
Yeah.
And the hope was that wages were going to finally catch back up. And because of this type of shit, it created a pressure release valve so the wages didn't have to keep up.
Yeah.
And guys like Obama were like, whatever needs it. And he's near the end of his term. He's like, whatever, it's fine. But this is what these guys are doing. And this was around the time, 2015, 2016 was around the time that tech thought that the Democrats were going to be in power for a lot longer.
Yeah.
They thought that it was definitely going to be Hillary. They thought it was definitely going to be guys like Obama. There was this type of California liberalism that they thought was going to rule the world. And so they were like, no, we're good guys. We're just like you. We're giving money to your campaigns.
Yep.
Look, we care about gay people, all that different type of shit, right? That's what they all really fucking played into. But in reality, what they were doing is they were destroying systems.
Yes.
By disruption. And that disruption, like some of these systems needed to be, shaken up a little bit, but they didn't need to be fucking destroyed. When I look at Uber destroyed taxi unions.
Yeah.
And that destroyed the livelihoods of so many different people. And it moved them from being sole business owners who were taxi drivers, who moved them into being app slaves.
Yeah.
They're like, when I drove for Lyft, it would be like, take 2 more rides and you'll get a bonus. Do this thing and you'll get a bonus. And it always ended up fucking me every single time. I've never been more miserable than when I was a Lyft driver.
Yeah.
And like at first, the thing is too, is about that type of job and about all these different types of things. They always start out, when you first start out doing them, you go, oh, this is great. This is so different. I'm taking control. And then slowly over time, you're like, I've been gamified.
Yeah.
And it sucks shit. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Obama is like in with these guys in that sort of way, because they also, this is part of their PR.
Yeah.
Was they can show up and then Obama can call himself a job creator.
Yes. Also, the renting houses thing did exist. It was just on Craigslist. Because when I was on tour in the early 2000s, when I worked for the Lion King Broadway show, and I was on the American tour, we would just go to Craigslist and find rental houses, because each city we lived in, we would be there for extended times, like months. And sometimes we live in hotels. Sometimes we live in those like extended Hiltons, those things. And sometimes we would find a house. But it was just on Craigslist. And so they, like you were saying, is like they just created a way where they could be the middleman between us having to scroll through Craigslist and see, like, because Craigslist wasn't the best platform to try to find a rental.
No.
Because like it was very odd. But like I did it all the time. Like whenever I'd go to Puerto Rico, we'd rent a house on Craigslist. Like, and also it was easier. Honestly.
Beach realtors.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, that's how you used to do it back in the day. Is you would, if you wanted to go rent, now you go on Airbnb. If you want to rent a house down at the shore or even at the mountains, if you're not going through, like when we went to Dollywood, we rented like through Dollywood. If you're not going through an organization like that, before Airbnb, what you would do is you would call a realtor down there, or you would talk to a friend who knew somebody.
Yeah.
And then you'd go down there, you'd rent a house, you'd stay at a hotel, and then you go to a beach realtor who was down there, and you would speak to them, and they'd pull out a big binder full of listings, and they would ask you what type of house I'm looking for, a 4-bedroom with this, and blah, 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 blah. And you would use them.
Hot tub, pool table.
Yes. And here's what would happen. That local realtor would then get the commission.
Yeah.
And that local realtor, that 10% or whatever it is, whatever the Airbnb fee, would stay in the local community.
Yeah.
Now that fee gets siphoned off and gets sent to these 3 fucking idiots in San Francisco.
Yep.
They go and invest it into crypto. They're not investing it into local property taxes. They're not investing it into a local school, another local business. They're not going in there and like giving money to a fucking bake sale to go help the Girl Scouts or whatever, because it's all going to these fucking 3 idiots and whoever else are their 6% investors and their angel investors. It is centralized all of the little bit of skimming that was happening throughout the entire system.
Yeah.
Under the idea of ease of access. Because now you're like, oh, I could just, want to get a 4-bedroom for us and our friends? Beep, boop, found it. Okay, yeah, I'll pay this extra fee, whatever. That's the listing. Like, that's how it goes. Yeah. Versus before, it was like, yeah, you had to do a little bit of work, but it did keep things a little bit more locally. And this has just been like part of that disruption. What it's really disrupted has been our local economies.
Yes.
Yeah.
In July 2016, they hired former Attorney General Eric Holder to help craft an anti-discrimination policy for Airbnb because so many reports had come in that hosts were refusing to accept lodging requests from guests whose names suggested they were African American.
Yes.
As part of the reform, photos of prospective guests are hidden from hosts until requests for lodging are accepted. That says a fucking lot.
It says a ton. Yeah, no, this is one of those things. Eric Holder was Obama's attorney general.
Yeah.
Also, he's a black man. And they were dealing with a ton of this. Airbnb and Uber also, and Lyft, also all sold themselves as not being anti-racist, but being not racist.
Yeah.
Specifically. A big thing I heard from friends of mine who are black when Uber came out is what they liked about it was they didn't have to worry about the cab passing them.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different things where cabbies would just pass and they would not pick up black passengers. Same thing issue that they felt that they were having at hotels. And so this idea of like, oh, I can go get a nice place. I can go stay in a neighborhood I typically wouldn't. Like going all the way back to the Green Book.
Yeah.
Like these ideas of like there's certain, we've talked about this with redlining in a very early episode of the podcast. There was these places where it like just black people weren't allowed to go. And there was nothing posted. But when you showed up, it was clearly there. And this disruption started putting black people into areas with maybe they didn't have knowledge of where they're renting, where there was underlying racism. And the hosts themselves were like, they're like, yeah, I'm going to open up to anybody. And then they'd look up and they go, oh, their name is what? And they'd flip the fuck out.
Yeah.
And so you can already see the connections that are already beginning to have the Obama administration and the connections there, but also of like how these mega corporations that are spreading across regions who have no idea of the markets or the customer base or the host base that they're handling of like how to handle this properly immediately.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you this had to happen so many times.
So many fucking times.
So many fucking times. It had to trend so many times. It had to get, there's a famous thing with Reddit. Reddit used to refuse to ban any subreddit until like Anderson Cooper talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had like issues back in the day. But this was a big thing with tech, which is like, oh no, it's not a problem, it's not a problem, it's not a problem until it becomes a PR problem.
Yes, and we will talk about that more.
Yeah. Right after this. Stop throwing your money away on high phone bills. Switch to Mint Mobile. You get the same coverage, the same speed, unlimited talk, text, and data, all on the nation's largest 5G network. Mint Mobile's plans start at just $15 a month for 3 months. And I want to let you guys know, this is one of the best deals that we've ever had from a sponsor. We've used this promo code for friends and family and ourselves. It's helped us save money. It's helped us make sure that we still have those same connections with our phone. And we didn't notice any drop in service from switching over from a major carrier to Mint Mobile. It was just the perfect, easiest transition we've ever done. Bring your current phone and number over to Mint. No long-term contracts, no hassle. Mint makes it easy with a 7-day money-back guarantee. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/tabs. That's mintmobile.com/tabs. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, 5 gigabyte plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plans options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com for details. What we got next, Mrs. P?
Okay, so people, the general public, start to clock that Airbnb is becoming a problem, that it's detrimental to the housing market.
Okay.
Like alarm bells are starting to go off. People in the know in certain like government agencies and people on the ground are like, wait a minute, this is becoming a problem because the homes or apartments that we used to be able to rent or buy are now being bought and then rented out short term. So they can't like get a lease to live there for a year because the landlord is like, no, I'm just going to rent it out in 2-week spurts.
Yeah.
You know? So they're seeing a decline in the fact that like there's less rentals and housing available. And the hosts are making more money off of the short-term stays than they would renting the property out as a home for like a year or 2 year lease.
Yeah.
And also the cities are noticing that because they're doing these short-term rentals, they don't have to get a license. Like in the city of Philadelphia, you have to have a rental license. You have to pay. There's an inspection process. L&I is involved, license and inspection. They also, when you are formally in a lease agreement, there are protections. There is landlord-tenant law. There are protections through the city. And so because they're doing this short-term rentals on an app, there's no oversight. There's no safety mechanisms.
Yeah.
And so all of these things are starting to come to a head now. People are really noticing a problem.
Yeah, and this is like 2017.
Yeah, like 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
The lack of housing is causing soaring pricing, and people that want to become homeowners are in this like huge obstacle where they have to pay more for rent while trying to save for a home. And they're being forced out of the lower priced housing because the lower priced housing is being gobbled up.
Yeah. And what's happening to it a lot of times is there's lower priced housing. What I really want you guys to think about is, again, we talked earlier about beach rentals.
Yeah.
But if you think about any place that is near a vacation destination, they used to all have areas that were lower income for the workers.
Yes.
So for people who are working, like a line cook, right? Let's think a line cook or a dishwasher. You're down at the shore. A dishwasher has to sleep somewhere.
Yeah.
They have to be able to take a shower, take a shit, and get some sleep. That's a rule they need to have. Where are you going to put them? Where do they get to sleep? And what you're finding is more and more, especially around these hot destinations, because of things like Airbnb, they want to have the people closer and closer to them. So the landlords flipped. Instead of going and having cheap rent for people to live around the corner and have a short commute, those people are going farther and farther away. So now they're either taking longer bus rides, they're driving more dangerous vehicles, they're paying more in gas, they're spending more time on the road, which then increases the amount of traffic.
Yeah.
And this starts really badly in vacation destinations.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Miami. I'm looking at the shore. I'm looking at these type of areas. When you get into cities like in Philadelphia, you're going to have that same sort of issue. And then what you see is the poor get pushed further and further and further out. When before you would have a split.
Yeah.
It'd be like you'd be in an area like near Rittenhouse Square, where it's like 70% of it's wealthy homes.
Yeah.
But you would have enough nearby.
Yeah, I used to live in Rittenhouse Square.
Yeah.
I lived at 17th and Walnut, which is like a high income area.
Yeah.
And we had like a 2-bedroom that we slept 3 people in.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was a restaurant workers area. Like,
yeah.
We just stayed in this one apartment building and it was cheap. I think our rent was like $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
And now that's like in crazy price because of all this.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I've seen that happen, I personally saw happen. I used to work for a bank, and my last job before the podcast took off was I did analysis for investment properties. And we had a guy come in, and his whole entire thing was taking long-term rentals and flipping them into short-term rentals. Now, here's what's crazy about it. He wasn't doing this at the beach. He was doing this in a neighborhood that was between a hospital and a courthouse. And what he was doing is he was flipping these long-term rentals. So he was taking a single-family home, and he was carving it up into 3 apartments that he was then renting on Airbnb, because he knew that at that time, especially post-COVID, travel nurses were becoming a very big thing. So travel nurses and research doctors were coming to this hospital. So he would go and make these high-end rentals. By the way, this was in a neighborhood where if this was 1994 or even the early 2000s, you wouldn't park your fucking car. Okay? So he's gentrifying the neighborhood by kicking everybody out, and he's putting in 3 units that he is now renting for $1,500 a month. This used to house one family for $700. So he is now, you start to see the amount of money that's starting to come in. And what he's doing is he's renting to travel nurses and doctors who are coming into the area. You know who's then paying for that heightened rent? The hospital. You know how the hospital pays for it? They up charges You know how those charges get paid for? They raise money on insurance. So you end up paying for this in the long run. Now, the second part of it is the courthouse was also important because they would have out-of-state lawyers and specialists coming in for trials. So they need to stay someplace. Back in the day, you know where they'd stay? They'd stay at one of those fucking like Holiday Inn suites.
Yeah.
One of those shitty places where it has a little fucking kitchenette in it. Well, now they have a whole apartment that's fully furnished. And oh my God, this is so nice. But this is in the heart of an American city where, again, there are restaurants there that these people, that the tenants are now staying in these places expect to go to. The people who are working in the restaurants are further away. The people who are working in the convenience stores are further away. The people who are working in the courthouse are further away. The fucking janitor of the hospital is further away. All of this shit is further away. And you know what happened? Public transportation goes fucking down because the people who are staying there aren't paying local taxes. So it's just getting fucking worse because these are all consultants. So the consultants are being paid a consultancy fee. Nobody's paying a fucking payroll. And then the local thing has all been fucked up and the property taxes are all fucked. So the school's not getting better because there's less kids anyway. There's less kids and the property taxes are still listing that in its mind as either a single family rental or keeping it at a price that's cash flowing much lower. And so these guys were coming in, especially post 2020, where I saw a lot of this type of shit happen. All of these different guys were coming in and they were borrowing against the potentiality of what they were going to be able to make on Airbnb. They weren't borrowing against. They weren't going, this is a $100,000 home because if I sell it, I'm going to sell it for $120,000. Therefore, you're going to give me a loan for, I don't know, $85,000. They were going, here's what I've done before. Here's how it cash flows. Give me $250,000. And now they need to make $250,000 to pay off that entire fucking loan. And they're going to just keep refinancing it. And a big part of all of this also happens because at that time, the Federal Reserve interest rates were at almost 0%. This is, again, post-recession. Yeah. A lot of these disrupting companies that Lex Luthor, Ganondorf, Chris Benoit, and probably John Fetterman loved, all of them were based on 0% interest rates, which meant it wasn't a lot of risk if they couldn't pay it off. Yeah. Now the interest rates are in 5-6%. People freak the fuck out about them. But back in the 80s, they're at 15%. So it was like, oh, if this doesn't go well, it doesn't matter. We can default on it a little bit easier, but also everyone can get cheap money because there was a lot of money around to make risky bets like this. And that's what Airbnb at the end of the day is. It's a risky bet for communities because you're actually losing the ability to have communities. You end up with basically high-end tenements and nobody knows who's anybody is around because every day you're seeing different people go in and out of your next door neighbor's house. Yeah.
Also, some data shows that about 1/4 of the hosts on Airbnb own nearly 2/3 of the listings.
Wait, 1/4 of the hosts own okay, with fractions, it always blows my brain. Yeah. And I know it's a hard thing to communicate with everybody. So what you're telling me, though, is a small number of the hosts own most of all of the options for people to rent from.
Yes. Whether that's just one real estate guy mogul who bought up a bunch of properties, let's say in Cape May, New Jersey. Yeah. Right? He might own 50% of Cape May, New Jersey, or big companies who've come in and gobbled up rentals to make
like a private equity,
style thing. So a 1/4 of the hosts on Airbnb platform own nearly 2/3 of the listing.
Yeah, because again, remember, Airbnb was sold much like Uber, much like Lyft, which is your side hustle. Rent out this room, right? And instead, you have people who are buying homes and letting them stay empty. Yes, because they can make as much money housing somebody for 3 days to a week as they could housing a family for a full month.
Yeah, for a year. Month. So in January 2017, along with Gary Vee and the founder of Eater.com, Airbnb invested $13 million into Resy, which is a restaurant reservation booking app.
I'm gonna make Eric Bischoff Gary Vee.
Okay, can I just say something? I don't really know who Gary Vee is. I only know him as the guy that made the NFTs of like his little childlike drawings. Yeah, that's all I know about him.
This is what I know about Gary Vee. I know that I saw him pop up my algorithm once, and I said, that man's trying to steal my money, and I hit not interested. Okay. And then I blocked him on every single service.
Yeah, smart.
Because everything about him just read like...
My algorithm is rarely showed him to me ever. I think I was like doing research about NFT things.
Yeah.
And he popped up and I was like, cause it was like, everybody was doing all these like art, like the Paul brothers, like they were doing all this silly billy stuff. But he sold these NFTs that were like the shittiest drawings, like they're the drawings I do for our child.
Yeah.
Of like, this is a frog.
Yeah.
And then he sold it for like $1 million or something. I was like, I'm confused by this man. I am scanning past.
Everything about him, like every video I ever saw about him had like Mr. Beast style subtitles, like the weird little pop-up things. And then everything about him just read brain rot grifter to me.
Maybe one
in
day
my opinion.
This is a comedy.
This is a comedy. This is a comedy show. We're telling silly little jokes. Look, it's Eric Bischoff.
Maybe one day I'll do research on him and we'll talk about it.
I don't want to.
Too late. So anyway, the thing that the only reason I brought this up is because I didn't know that Resi was owned by Airbnb. Now, you don't make reservations for dining ever.
No, I just go into a place and say, give me a
because
table.
I've already made them probably on Resi.com. So I didn't know that I've been supporting the Airbnb founders at this point, or Gary
really?
Vee.
Okay.
The founder of Eater.com, that's fine. I check that website once in a while.
Yeah.
But
I think Eater was owned by Vox at one point.
Maybe.
No, but here's the thing. Well, we'll tell everybody. Again, we've said this so many times.
Yeah.
There is no ethical consumption under capitalism.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
I know.
And as we found out from the private equity episode about Blackstone,
Yep.
they own everything.
They do.
Same with BlackRock. But like, it's hard to find a place where you aren't supporting a madman.
No, I'm not. Listen, the whole thing is that there used to be a website called OpenTable.com. And that was the website where you would make reservations.
I remember using that a lot.
Yeah, OpenTable. And I had used it on the back end because when I was working in restaurants, we would have OpenTable on our thing.
For your reservations.
And so, but the thing is, I have OpenTable became an enemy of mine because they used to have like a good like point system where if like you made enough reservations, you would get like credit back. So like if you made like 10 reservations in a month or so, let's say, they would send you a check for like $100 in points that you could then use at restaurants that were under the OpenTable network.
Got it.
And so as people that used to go out a lot, I'd be like, bang, bang, bang. But then they just stopped mailing the checks. And I was so mad. I was like, I had points galore and I would never cash them in. And I got so mad that when this Resi app started popping up on different restaurants, like, make a reservation, you have to log into Resi. And I was like, fine, because fuck OpenTable forever. They owe me money.
Well, this is why Verbo exists.
Right.
This is why Verbo exists against Airbnb.
So,
or Lyft versus Uber and like all these different things.
In August of 2017, Airbnb canceled numerous bookings and closed accounts belonging to attendees of the Unite the Right rally, which was a white supremacist rally organized by Jason Kessler in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Yeah.
Citing their terms of service, which members must accept people regardless of their race, religion, national origin, ethnicity, disability, sex, gender identity, and sexual orientation or age.
That sounds woke in cancel culture.
It was woke and cancel culture.
We used to live in a society, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people forget that the Unite the Right rally in 2017 was like, for a lot of people, like a big moment.
Yeah.
And now I think we just forget about it
a lot.
That
was the Tiki Torch. Right?
Yes,
That's
that was where they were marching around yelling, "The Jews will not replace us."
Yeah,
everyone forgets that that's what they were yelling.
Yeah,
the famous images of like the guys with the slicked hair, and then a woman died.
Yes,
she was
hit run over by a car.
Yeah, she got hit by a car.
Yeah.
And today the president would have pardoned. That was the one where he famously said, "The president of the United States, the current president of the United States, once and future." He was like, "There are good and bad people on both sides."
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a lunacy.
Okay, so around the same time, Nathan transitions from chief strategy officer at Airbnb.
I thought you said transitions. I got so excited.
No.
And I was like, we were going to have a face turn here. But no, Ganondorf just went from being CTO to?
Chairman of the Airbnb China. So he's going to open Airbnb in China.
Oh, wait.
He's leaving.
Wait, okay. Oh, that's going to go good.
Yeah, 2017. They're investing a lot of money.
Yeah.
He's leaving chief strategy officer title, and he's going to go be the chairman of Airbnb China.
But this is also one of those things, again, with all these different types of companies. It's about expansion. How do we expand? How do we rapidly expand all these different places? And you know who famously doesn't have a lot of regulations? I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing is like when I was doing all this research, I noticed is that there are people who are fighting them.
Yeah.
Like city councils, local governance, like people are fighting with them. But the thing is, they're moving so quickly that it's hard to catch up to them. It's very Trumpian, like a bull in a china shop. Like there's only so much you can do to get the breakables as the bull is running around. And they're just running loose and being like, we'll figure it out later. Our lawyers will figure it out later.
Yeah, and what you have to do in these situations is if you're a local organization or a lone city council person, because often it was like one city council person or like one state rep, you have to grab that one thing and not let go of that one thing because they're committing and breaking so many rules and they're causing so many violations and probably breaking laws in these situations. The one I keep thinking about all the time is, as you're reading this, is I think it was Uber and Lyft. There was a time where like New York was fining them like thousands of dollars a day, hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, because they were operating without taxi licenses. They were fake taxi licenses. The Airbnb was operating as hotels, and they don't have a hotel license. You're supposed to have a license for these things. And these individual homes are being turned into tenements.
And at this time, New York is fighting with them. New York was one of their biggest battlegrounds. And like New York City specifically, not the state. New York City was their biggest battle for these exact reasons. They wanted licensing. They wanted oversight. They wanted to make sure that that each rental would be start at 30 days. It was the minimum. They wanted 30-day rentals. Again, because they're like, no, we need people to live here.
Yeah, but also we have a hotel industry.
Yeah, we have a hotel industry.
Which also pays specific hotel taxes.
Exactly.
And all of this money goes into specific buckets. And if they don't go into the right buckets, then the entire system fucking collapses.
Anyway, we have to go back to China. Okay. So the certain hosts in China were a problem because they kept discriminating by refusing to rent to the Uyghurs. So that became a huge issue.
Yes.
Airbnb also had big issues with regulations because China had all these regulations that required detailed information on each guest that needed to be sent to the government for review.
Yeah.
So that was a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also 2020, there was a pandemic.
Yeah, COVID
China.
hit. It started in China, and there was a lot of regulations around that and lockdowns.
So officially, they went into China in 2017.
Yep.
They ended up closing out all of the bookings and closing down basically Airbnb China in 2022. Now, I believe that Airbnb China exists, but it's more of an out-facing company. So it's like if you are a Chinese citizen and you want to go stay in Italy, you can use Airbnb outwardly, but you can't book Airbnb inwardly.
This is very funny because this is basically the story of almost like all tech dealing with China.
Yeah.
Especially from like the Obama years into the Trump years. Is like this almost exact story. Mark Zuckerberg like tried desperately to get Facebook into China.
Yeah.
And President Xi
we're
Jinping.
like, no, we have Red Note and we've seen it and we think it's cool.
But also Xi Jinping was just like, yeah, bitch, no, I've seen you, CIA ass weirdo alien. The fucking in general with all this different stuff. It's one, it's a different culture, but two, they have such high amounts of regulations around everything. And if you want to go to a communist country like China and be like, nah, we'll just pay the fine. And they're like, you'll pay with your life.
Yeah.
Like, go.
Whoops.
Whoa.
Whoopsie daisy. I want to talk shit.
Okay, talk shit.
Okay, so in 2017, Joe Geba, he decides to launch Neighborhood, a modular design office furniture business.
That's about I'm holding
again, just a side quest.
Yeah, I'm holding up the Chris Benoit figure, by the way.
Okay, Joe. See, this is why this was important to me.
Okay,
because I kept forgetting who they are.
Yeah.
So Joe is the Chris Benoit character.
Yes.
Okay. He decides he's going to get into office furniture business.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I went and looked it up and it's so ugly. It reminds me of like hostile architecture in park benches to like hurt homeless people.
Yeah.
Let me show you some pictures of it.
Oh God, I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why does it have a high back and the small?
In the smallest little butt area.
Yeah.
And like you sit on a curved couch like this, like how are you having a conversation? You're all facing different directions.
These are some of the ugliest designs I've ever seen. It's somebody who was like wanted to make something look modern and sleek.
Yeah.
And also like this is your thing.
Yeah.
This is where your heart lies.
This is your creativity.
Office furniture.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God. Oh, that fucking table with the plug sticking out of the column and they covered it. He thought covering a column in carpet.
Yeah. He said that's fashion.
That's not fashion. That's a hotel.
Yeah.
Like, again, because these guys, they don't have anything in their life that they love.
Well, okay, I'm saying that Joe, he doesn't have any like cool, interesting things because like I think it's Brian. He's really into like bonsai and like ice hockey.
Oh, that
like,
tracks.
He has hobbies.
No, that tracks.
Right?
Okay, well, that makes sense then why I picked Lex
He's
Luthor.
really into like landscape architecture. Like
Okay.
he has fucking hobbies. And then the other guy, Nathan,
Ganondorf.
other than like knowing how to like create spam.
Yeah.
He also really is into paternal leave. So he like throws a lot of money behind paternal leave stuff and like nonprofits and that. So like he's really into parenthood and like so these guys have like real hobbies and interests. But Joe is just like the worst office furniture guy.
I'm going to say one thing. I don't know anything about Nate.
Yeah.
But I will just say that anytime I hear about any tech billionaire that's into families and like people having kids, I immediately go like,
like in that weird way.
Yeah, like in that Elon way.
In that like what's it the people that are into the arrow, what is it? The
Quiverful.
Yeah. I knew it. Okay, good.
Quiverful.
Yes,
but also
tech quiverful energy.
No, but there's also like tech eugenics energy.
Yeah,
so
whoopsies.
that's a bad one.
Okay,
too.
so then I just wanted to talk shit on that furniture design because it
was horrific. That was terrible.
Yeah. Okay, by 2019, 2 million people are staying in an Airbnb every night.
2 million?
2 million people every night are staying in an Airbnb by 2019.
I want you guys to think about this, the listeners. That's 2 million Airbnb fees per night.
Yeah.
For revenue.
Mm-hmm.
That's before we're talking about servers. That's before any employees, anything. Because Airbnb hosts were always complaining about the fees going up.
Yeah.
And they would always pass them on to the renters
Give
too.
a shit. I need to tell you something. I think Airbnb hosts just as bad as landlords in my mind.
They are landlords.
I don't like them.
No, again,
I don't want to hear your complaints.
No, because
I've stayed in an Airbnb too, and I didn't like it. I'd rather be in a hotel. But sometimes when you have a large group of friends, you have to get a whole house because you have a large group of friends, and maybe you want to have a Blackstone griddle and a pool. Maybe you do because you're with a good group of friends. But then they're going to send you that goddamn email that says there's a $300 cleaning fee, but then I'm required to clean the whole place before I go, or there's another charge. Go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? So I don't stay at Airbnbs. Anyway, 2020 hits. There's a COVID-19 pandemic.
Just so you guys know, this is because we were at an Airbnb years ago, and they sent a message saying that we needed to take the trash out. And we had to pay a cleaning fee.
One or the other.
Yeah.
Either you pay, if I'm paying a fee, somebody should be coming in and cleaning. Why am I washing my sheets? Why am I putting them back on the bed? Why am I doing all the dishes? And it's like, oh, you have to run the dishwasher, take out the trash all the way to the curb, pull the trash cans down. Bitch, I don't work here.
Yeah.
What?
We walked into the house and there was a binder waiting for us.
Never.
Yeah.
They're so lucky. They're so lucky that I like to go with groups of my friends in the summer because otherwise I need a hotel.
We like a Marriott. A Marriott Bonvoy.
I love a Marriott Bonvoy.
We love a Marriott Bonvoy. Do not get in the comments and tell us it's evil. We don't care.
I don't care.
We don't care.
They
we
got
don't care.
a nice, easy breakfast. Mm-hmm. It's easy to check in, check out.
Yep.
They're quiet. They're clean. Oh my God. Pandemic hits, okay? 2020. Bookings dropped by as much as 96% in some cities.
Yeah. Especially in New York.
However, bookings rose in many rural areas.
Yes.
Because a lot of people were like, oh, I can work remote. I'm heading out.
I had so many of my friends who were in Philadelphia who either they or their roommates went and rented someplace in the mountains because they're like, if I can work from home. Yeah. I can look out my window and I can either see.
I was so mad. So many of our friends did it. I wasn't mad. I was jealous. Because I had a job that went fully remote.
Yeah.
It went pseudo remote because I still had to go to court. I was working as a paralegal. Yeah. And I still had to go to court once in a while because certain courtrooms and judges were like, no.
I can't figure out Zoom.
We can't figure out Zoom. You need to come in person. And the whole thing is I was working for a program for senior citizens. And we were like, we do not want the senior citizens coming to court because they are at the highest risk of passing away from COVID. Why would you make us come to court?
Yep.
Anyway, I was mad all the time.
And I was an essential worker.
Yeah, you were an essential worker.
My job, by the way, was counting cash.
Anyway,
I was working at a bank.
I was mad and jealous because I was like, I could theoretically do all this online if these judges weren't such jerks and making us come in, because then I could have went and rented a lake house.
Yeah.
Huzzah. But I didn't want to use Airbnb.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, the company pledges $250 million in payouts to hosts to compensate them for guest cancellations during the pandemic. At the same time, they are going to lay off approximately 1,900 employees, aka 25% of the workforce in America, Europe, and Asia due to the pandemic.
Okay, so Airbnb lays off a bunch of different people while opening up and giving money to the hosts. Because if the host, this is the thing, remind you, if the host dies, then the parasite, Airbnb, the Airbnb will die.
Yeah.
Because it needs hosts to live.
Yeah.
You see? Landlords need a host. They need a host to live. The landlords need a host.
I need you to know that Airbnb hosts were also able to get PPP loans.
Oh, I'm aware.
Including to cover rent, mortgages, and utilities.
Just so you guys know, PPP loans were the Payment Protection Program. During COVID, there was a moment where they realized, and by they, I mean the United States federal government, realized that a lot of people were being furloughed and laid off. And they were very, very nervous that people would run out of money, start rioting in the streets, and, start like robbing grocery stores and things like that. Looting would happen. So they came up with this idea. The initial idea was the Treasury Department was going to just give everyone money.
Yeah.
They were going to cut a check to basically every American citizen and say, keep on keeping on. It was going to be our version of universal basic income.
Yeah.
But the Trump administration and the Republicans said, that sounds crazy. If we give them free money, they'll turn into communists. So what they decided to do instead was give free money to business owners. That's right. If you had an LLC, or if you were a consultant or a 1099 contractor, they had it the hardest because actually many of them couldn't get it. But for these big major companies, they were able to get free money as long as they were able to say, hey, we've had a hit and we have a payroll and we need that money. So the government cut all of these fucking checks, and then you were able, as a loan, and then you were able to request loan forgiveness.
Yeah.
And most of them got it. A
Yeah.
ton of them got it, especially Airbnb hosts and landlords. I can't tell you. A lot of them came in and were like, hey, I can barely make my payroll for my landlord company.
Yeah.
I am also the only employee.
I'm always working at a loss.
I'm always working at a
They're
loss.
always at a loss.
And
0% income.
The other thing you would end up seeing when you're looking at a lot of these companies' numbers is some of them turned profit for the first time in their entire corporate history in 2020 and 2021 because of the PPP loans, because they have been removing so much money from their companies over the years.
Yeah.
And so you have a lot of guys like landlords or Airbnb hosts where they would be writing off things like, hey, mileage. I got to drive past my property and check it every single day.
Yeah.
Just so happens to be, I also drive right past there to my mistress's house. Hey-oh, got to count those miles. But all these different types of things were tied in there. They also had a thing called EIDL loans, where the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program is very similar to the PPP. There were so many different things like this that were set up that were made to keep rich people rich, and it was a giant transfer of wealth from you, the working people, to some of the richest people on earth. And then they had the gall to tell us we couldn't do student loan debt forgiveness or get free healthcare or not bomb Iran.
Airbnb itself did not get a PPP loan, but they did raise $2 billion in private capital.
Yep.
So,
Because you got to keep that going.
got to keep it going.
Got to keep that going because you need those slaves to be living inside your app community.
Okay, in December 10th of 2020, Airbnb went public on the NASDAQ.
Okay.
And they raised $3.5 billion
Yep.
on opening day. Joe Geba, who is
Chris Benoit.
moves to Austin, Texas in late 2020. He purchased a $10 million house property
Oh, yeah. He was able to purchase a $10 million house
in Austin, Texas.
using the money that he raised destroying home ownership.
What?
Okay, so I can see why you picked Chris Benoit. Moved to Austin, Texas in 2020 with Joe Rogan.
Now, also at this time a little bit before that, actually, his buying the house. I just wanted to let you know he's moving to Austin.
No, I know. And this is
I think it's important.
But this is also a big time where the Silicon Valley guys are moving out to Austin because, again, the same way you said with people renting.
Yeah.
Renting Airbnbs to leave home. This is that contingent of Silicon Valley guys who are like, we gotta leave California. It's too woke. Also, oh my God, there's so much of the restrictions around COVID, and they don't have them in Texas.
Yeah, no rules.
Yep.
Then the Airbnb is about to make a rule. They temporarily banned parties in homes rented on the platform in August 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic because people kept having so many parties.
Yeah.
Because they would just rent out a house and then just have a big mask off party.
Yep.
And the hosts were getting really mad. Because obviously, like, the police are getting called if it's like a really raucous party, but also like whether or not they're spreading the COVID. Like, it was a whole thing.
And the neighborhood isn't expecting to have 200 people show up one day out of nowhere.
And one of these specific parties, and the reason for the ban, there was one condo building in Miami who sued Airbnb because of these friggin' parties.
Oh, really?
So here's what happened. There's this condo building called the Opera Tower building in Miami. And there's 665 condos in this building.
Okay.
200 of them are listed on Airbnb.
That's just short of 666. 665 units is crazy. They were like, we could have done.
One of these units, they just were like, it's a closet.
Yeah.
That's
for the water boiler.
It's a water boiler. We can't do it. Now the issue is that the city of Miami-Dade is suing the Opera Tower building because during the 2020 pandemic timeline, like within this timeline, the city received more than 397 calls to 911 because so many crimes had been committed on the property, including alleged incidences of robbery, assault, and sexual assault. And also parties, just huge parties all the time.
Probably noise violations.
So the whole thing is the building is getting sued by the city. So then the building is suing Airbnb and saying you have to take us off of your listings because it's actually against the condo association, aka HOA rules. It's in this documents that these people sign when they buy the condo that they're not allowed to do short-term rentals.
This is so funny.
By letting them use your website, you're breaking your terms of service and our terms of service. And as I was writing this, I was like, do not make me side with condo associations, okay, Airbnb?
And the state of Florida.
Don't make me be on their side.
This is remember the whole DeSantis free state of Florida type of bullshit.
Yeah.
Because there's also a lot of people were going down to Florida specifically because Ron DeSantis and the Republicans down there made being anti-COVID regulations their entire fucking personality.
Yeah.
They were banning masks. They were screaming about vaccines. They were screaming about Anthony Fauci, all that different type of stuff. And so, yeah, the people who were going to and it's also Miami to begin with.
Yeah, party time.
You're in a Miami party. It's probably a Diddy party. You're down there out of nowhere. And here's what's really funny.
Yeah.
The people in the condos are the ones calling the cops.
Yes.
Yeah, because so the condo residents are calling the cops on the Airbnb, and which is forcing the city to sue the condo association, to force the condo association to sue the Airbnb.
Yeah.
And the Airbnb to be like, please don't tell the stock market.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, the condo association was like, we can't figure out who it is because, like, I guess, like, condo 197 is clearly having a party.
Yeah.
But then on the Airbnb listings, it doesn't say, like, full legal name. So then the condo association in their lawsuits couldn't sue direct condo owners, even though they know it's condo 197.
Yeah.
They don't have proof because it's not the full legal name. And so it's like this whole thing. They're like, you're breaking the rules. Everybody's breaking the rules.
Yeah, you're making it really easy for people to scam.
Yeah. And the city of Miami sues this building basically because they're an illegal hotel at this point.
Yeah.
And they don't have licensing to be a hotel. And so it became this huge lawsuit. And this is kind of one of the main reasons they made this. It's illegal to have parties in 2020 at Airbnbs because of like this Miami hotel. Well, condo. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was a condo building.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing too is there was a lot of rules and regulations around hotels at that time that they were only allowed to be like, I think it was like 1/3 capacity.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want the hotels to become giant, giant pools of COVID germs.
Yeah.
This is so wild.
In January 2021, Airbnb allowed attendees of the January 6th United States Capitol attack to book units on the platform in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Despite most hotels in the vicinity of Capitol Hill banning far-right extremists. After the possibility of further violence during the inauguration of Joe Biden, Airbnb announced on January 7th that they would be banning all bookings in the region prior to inauguration.
Oh, wow. So the nobody saw this coming, guys. We're proving that everyone saw it fucking coming.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Yeah, and there was a thing actually that came out during January 6th committee about them doing rentals like just over the border in Virginia and stuff like that. Where some of the people at January 6th were storing rifles and things.
Oh.
I'm not saying that they were done at Airbnbs, but I'm saying it's like there was weirdness around where they were staying and all that other different stuff.
Why would they need firearms? That was,
it was
not
just a tour.
that kind of, it was just a tour.
They were just taking a tour. They were just a tour group.
That's what I remember hearing.
Yeah.
When they were all not acquitted.
Pardoned.
Yeah,
they're all pardoned.
You know, they got a new
Yeah,
job.
their sins have been pardoned.
So I want to take a quick break, and when we come back, I do want to issue a content warning on the next section.
All right, we're back, and as you said, there's a content warning on this area.
Content warning.
Okay.
Airbnb has very limited protections in place for what they refer to as, quote, safety incidents.
Okay.
And this came front and center recently because of a Bloomberg article that came out about a woman from Australia who booked an Airbnb in New York City. So she books this Airbnb, and you know how like on the app they'll be like, go pick up the keys here. There's a lockbox. She was directed to go pick up a key at a bodega on the corner.
Okay.
When she went and got the key, nobody checked her ID. She didn't check anybody else's ID. She, goes and drops her bags off and then goes out with her girlfriends. Later that night, she returns to the Airbnb, and there's a man with a knife hiding inside of her Airbnb. He sexually assaults her and flees the apartment. Okay, she calls the police immediately. They're there interviewing her. This fucking scumbag comes back, right? The cops immediately arrest him on site. And he has like a backpack, and in his backpack are her earrings and the keys to the Airbnb.
What?
Yes.
How do you have the keys?
I believe he made copies of the keys from the bodega.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
the keys weren't securely stored.
Exactly.
Got it.
So this incident sent Airbnb into crisis mode because when this happens, they're still in that legal battle with New York City. Right? Because New York City still wants more regulations around Airbnb.
Yeah.
And so they're like immediately like, oh my God, we have to dedicate time. And they actually at this point have created a crisis management team or a task force to handle these issues. And the task force is ex-military and like social workers.
Wait, if you're having so many of these issues that you have a task force to try to mitigate the PR fallout of these issues, then PR isn't the issue. You need to stop this from happening.
Yes.
You are aware. That means you're aware.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, our assault program is assaulting people.
Yeah.
How do we make it stop? What the fuck are we talking about here?
Yeah. So the task force immediately puts this woman up in a hotel.
Okay. Airbnb.
So then you admit.
Okay.
They fly her mother in from Australia. They pay for her mother to fly in from Australia. And then they pay for her to fly back to Australia with her mom. And then they tell her that they'll pay for any of her legal expenses from this incident.
Jesus.
When she's in Australia, obviously her lawyers reach out to Airbnb to be like, we're going to sue you about you putting her at risk with your failures and your safety failures in the way that this app is set up.
Yeah.
They end up settling out of court for $7 million.
Wow.
Okay. One of the clauses in this lawsuit, in my opinion, seems to read that she's not allowed to speak out about Airbnb negatively. Airbnb, however, says that she, of course, can share her opinion and that the wording in what she signed in these documents isn't trying to silence the victim, right? There are many incidents of crimes in Airbnbs. However, in my opinion, Airbnb's focus is not stopping the crimes as much as it's keeping the stories of crime out of the news at all costs.
Yeah.
Like the detriment to the brand seems to be their real focus. So according to Bloomberg, their journalist stated that Airbnb routinely spends tens of millions of dollars each year legally to resolve with customers such incidents with potentially negative public relations consequences. The documents Bloomberg posted show that Airbnb pays about $50 million annually out to hosts and guests. That includes damage to property and legal settlements.
Okay. That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. 50 million.
That's a lot of incidents.
That's a lot of incidents.
That maybe we're not all hearing about because they have a task force.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I will say is that major companies do a lot of settlements.
Yeah.
We'll give them this
arbitration.
Arbitration.
A lot of arbitration.
I
think arbitration is in the terms of service when you sign up.
It's probably the I agree that you click there at the beginning. But like when I worked at a mall years ago, we used to have a slip and fall policy.
Yeah.
Which is basically like if you slipped and you fell, they would immediately call an ambulance for it. Didn't even matter if we knew you faked it.
Yeah.
Immediately called an ambulance for you. And then you basically were immediately offered like, I think it was like $8,000.
Oh, yeah.
It was like that because they were like, it costs less for us to just give you $8,000.
I fell at a mall recently. Why didn't we tell anybody?
What?
Remember we went to the mall in Delaware and I fell. I should have called some people.
Yeah, you could have.
I could have made a scene.
Yeah, you could have made a scene.
I could have made a scene.
Yeah, they had a little step there.
I mean, it was their fault. There should have been a sign. There was a step there.
They should have caution tape on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, that mall, it was me money. Okay, so when this story, this Bloomberg article, this journalist did this whole deep research into this task force and all of these incidents and how they're not really publicly discussed, right?
Yeah.
When this article from Bloomberg went live, the next day, the stock for Airbnb fell by 3%.
Oh, wow.
Okay, but don't worry, because our entire country is built on the exploitation of women and seemingly all the men in power do not care about sexual assault. So stocks rose again by that same afternoon.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yep.
March of 2022, Airbnb suspends business in Russia and Belarus due to international sanctions because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
The bare minimum.
The bare minimum.
Yay.
In June of 2022, Airbnb announces that it would permanently ban parties and events in homes and rolled out technology to enforce this ban.
Yeah.
Party's over, guys.
That's how we got banned.
What?
Yeah, because we went to a party. We had, I mean, I don't remember. I think that was.
I don't think we didn't get banned. That house wouldn't rent to us anymore.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's how we got banned from that house.
That one house.
Yeah, but it wasn't even a party. Like
we were playing
no,
charade,
it's not like we had
party.
a DJ and then we had a keg or any of that different stuff.
There wasn't even alcohol.
No, everyone in the house was sober, and I was dressed as a nun.
We were doing a murder mystery, a costume murder mystery.
Yeah,
party.
and I was dressed as a nun.
Yeah,
it was a good time.
It was fun. And
it was a lot of fun.
Somebody had a Ring camera in there, and they said, "We're not letting them back."
Yeah, it's Airbnb. There's cameras everywhere.
So they ban all the parties. Okay, so it's 2022 still.
To be fair, it's because our one friend. It's definitely because our one friend had an octopus, squid. What word I want to? Marital aid.
Yeah. Okay. As part of their costume.
As part of their costume. Yeah.
The weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. That's what. That was the murder weapon. And we had to figure out like
too much now. I think people know too much.
They figured out what
us.
the tentacle is.
Okay, in 2022,
we party, not like these fucking idiots. Oh, look at me! I like making furniture. No, we go to costume murder mystery parties where dildos are weapons.
I feel like people are going to insinuate a lot from that.
Okay. We didn't use it. It was the characters used it. All right. It wasn't one of those dragon ones either.
Okay. In 2022, Joe acquired a minor.
We both have our arms crossed.
Because I do not know
For
how
the
I feel
audio
about
listeners, our arms are crossed.
I do not know how I feel about you talking about that.
About what? That party?
Yeah.
It was a fun party. We're not, listen.
It makes it sound like we were part of like a sexy party. It wasn't a sexy party.
It wasn't a sexy party. It was fun. It was a funny thing. And our friend had their costume.
Okay.
They had a belt that had an octopus tentacle hanging off of it.
In 2022.
Okay.
Joe acquires a minority ownership in the San Antonio Spurs.
Boo.
Actually, this entire thing is about to become about Joe.
Oh, really?
So what Nathan and Brian, they're just off doing Airbnb
Okay,
stuff.
you know what? We're going to
whatever they
take
want.
Nathan and Brian away.
Yeah.
We don't need to worry about them.
We're just talking about Joe.
We're just talking about Joe here.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is being played by Chris Benoit.
Chris Benoit.
Okay.
Okay, who's a wrestler.
Who was a wrestler. He is now dead.
Oh, he's dead.
Yes.
Okay.
Bowflex machine.
The thing that's like skiing?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
You're thinking Norditrack.
Norditrack.
Yeah.
The Bowflex was a different one?
Don't worry about it. Just start telling us about the monster known as Joe.
Joe steps down from his full-time operating role at Airbnb and joins the board of directors of Airbnb. Again, so this is just a shift in management. He's taking a lesser role.
These guys do that all the time, yeah.
They need a break because of he's helping with the San Antonio Spurs or something.
Yeah.
At the same time, he is appointed to the board of directors of Tesla Incorporated.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
So our Chris Benoit here is now working with Elon Musk and Tesla?
Yeah.
I don't have a, let me see. Who do I want to have to be that?
Who's
Okay, give me a second. I gotta go get a Tesla. I gotta get an Elon guy. Okay, I got it.
Okay, what do we have?
Okay, I went with this Cobra Commander still in box that I bought a long time ago.
Okay.
Because Cobra Commander is like a fascist loser.
Okay.
Who thinks he's really, really cool.
Yeah.
But everybody's like, you're a fascist loser.
Yeah.
Well,
that's Elon for sure.
Yeah, this is Elon. So he is now working on the board of Tesla.
Yeah.
With Elon Musk.
Okay.
Okay.
Also in this year, 2025.
Okay.
Which we just survived.
We just survived 2025.
Joe donated $1 million to the gubernatorial campaign of Greg Abbott.
Oh, Ironsides himself.
In 2025, Joe praised Donald Trump's nomination of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to the United States Secretary of Health and Human Services role.
You mean to tell me
Yes.
that Joe from Airbnb
Yeah.
is a big fan of the harvest?
Okay, none of that.
You know, I'm going to start a podcast myself. It's the RFK Jr. audio podcast.
No.
Where I'm going to tell you how the government is lying to you while I work at the government.
Okay.
Entire government completely controlled by podcasters, by the way.
Joe.
We should take over the government.
We would be so good at government.
I think we would be.
Okay, yeah, I would. Okay, what part of government am I going to be in charge of?
Looks.
Vibes.
Yeah, vibes. I mean, honestly, like 90% of government is vibes at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're bad vibes.
Really
They're
bad
wretched
vibes.
vibes.
You know what's crazy?
Blech.
As we're recording this, I have no idea if we're at war anymore.
No, it's whatever. Come
Yeah,
on.
it is what it is.
We need to talk about how Joe also gave this same year at least $2 million to the Andrew Cuomo PAC for the 2025 New York City mayoral election.
So he's a bad investor.
He's a bad investor.
Oh, you know what's funny is the whole time when you were talking
Not
about
my boy Mamdani.
I know when you were talking about Airbnb fighting New York, I was like, yeah, he definitely hates it now.
Yeah.
There's no way that Zoran Mamdani is not letting Airbnb just get away with shit.
No.
I remember it was like the day Mamdani got inaugurated.
Yeah.
He immediately like went into a place to be like, we're going to fix this fucking look at this bullshit this landlord did. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Okay, so he's giving money to Andrew Cuomo. So he just flushed $2 million
Can I
down
just
the
say something?
toilet.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
It's giving fascist.
It's giving fashion.
It's giving fascist.
Joe also steps down from the board of Airbnb.org. So Airbnb.org is different from the .com. It's the company's nonprofit arm that provides temporary housing for refugees and people displaced by disasters.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Shut the fuck up.
No.
So you're telling me a guy who is definitely hanging out with Elon is MAGA adjacent. Was on the board of a company that was of an organization that was supposed to help house refugees.
Yeah, he was on the board of directors of the nonprofit that was supposed to help refugees. Now, what happened was he had been outspoken in his criticisms of certain refugees and migration policies. And this paired with his visible political affiliations, people were starting to like scream on the internet that like, we're going to boycott Airbnb. You know
So
what
he
I
hurt
mean?
the brand.
He hurt the brand.
He hurt the brand. Got it.
And this was clearly at odds with the humanitarian mission of Airbnb.org. And a lot of people online pointed out that he was a fucking hypocrite because his wife is an immigrant from Brazil.
Oh, you know what? You know what's crazy about that?
What?
You know who else's wife is an immigrant and actually would have been deported under the current policies?
Okay.
John Fetterman's.
Oh, John Fetterman's back on the table.
Yeah, John Fetterman's back on the table. Just want to remind everybody that John Fetterman stands for policies that would affect his own family directly because he has brain damage. He also loves Elon Musk because Elon Musk was nice to him on Twitter.
Okay.
He probably thinks everybody up here is really good.
It's pretty cool.
John Fetterman is playing himself.
I was about to say, it's crazy that there is a John Fetterman doll.
Yeah. Well, you brought it into our house.
You made me.
Okay, well, you texted me and said, I'm here. They got a John Fetterman bobblehead. I said, you bring it
I
home.
saw a comment on the last time we talked, or last episode, where somebody was like, it's so funny that somebody like got mad that they had that and donated it instead of like setting on fire or crushing it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Here it is.
Okay, so 2025, we're still in 2025.
Oh, God.
Joe joins the Department of Government Efficiency as head of its National Design Studio.
So he legitimately joined the Trump administration.
He joins the Trump administration through DOGE.
Through DOGE with Elon.
Yes.
Okay.
The NDS, that's the National Design Studio, where he's working. The studio's job is to improve the design of government websites.
Uh-huh.
Joe said that the government websites, especially on mobile, are, quote, horribly out of date, and he wants to create, quote, an Apple Store-like experience.
Okay. So there is, I'll give the little bit of truth there, which is that government websites are out of date. And in fact, we had it here in Pennsylvania when Governor Shapiro got elected. One of the first things he did was go through all the different Pennsylvania websites and cut down, because many times when systems are created, they just keep adding things on, and nobody ever streamlines in between. Yeah. So that little bit, is true. That's why the bullshit is so evil. Yeah. Because yes, a website can be confusing. This one says submit. This one says enter. You know what I mean?
This one says you have to print the PDF and then scan it back in.
Yeah, stuff like that. This one doesn't have fillable fields. This one does. Yeah. And like, again, because there's so many different webmasters for everything. The thing you need to understand about DOGE is that DOGE was the U.S. Digital Service. DOGE is just a rename. It was not a department. It's never been a department. It is a rename for the IT department of the United States federal government. That's how those guys were able to go run around and get into all these little fucking areas. And that's how you had big balls and all these other fucking psychos steal things like Social Security data and other different things. All of them were part of it because they were the IT guys. That's how they were able to get access.
Concerns that Joe's work at DOGE undermined U.S. democracy resulted in more calls to boycott Airbnb. Mm-hmm. Because, again, his name is always associated with Airbnb.
Yeah. Because he is one of the founders.
In January of 2025,
alongside Lex Luthor and Ganondorf.
On Twitter, Joe wrote that Trump, quote, is not a fascist determined to destroy democracy.
That
was January of last year. How's that holding up?
Yeah, how that doing
How's
there, bud?
How's that holding up, Joe?
How's that going there, Joe?
He also said, quote, I love the whole DOGE initiative.
I bet you do.
I got another quote from Twitter. This is right when he got brought on board for DOGE. He said, quote, excited to share, I'm bringing my designer brain and startup spirit into the government. My first project at DOGE is improving the slow and paper-based retirement process. Since leaving my operating role at Airbnb in 2022, I've been looking for the next digital design challenge, and I can think of few more important ones than volunteering to improve the user experience within our government. If anyone else in good standing wants to help design beautiful, user-friendly digital products, reach out.
Number one, that's not how anything works.
Are you sure?
That's not how it's supposed to work. Because the thing is about government, and what we found in general through all these idiots running around unplugging things and looking, quote unquote, looking for fraud, is that most of it was working.
It was working.
It was working.
Slowly and painfully.
But the reason why it was slow was to watch for fraud.
Yeah.
Whenever we have massive fraud, it's because things get moved too quickly. It's literally one of the things they train you if you work in the financial sector. They say anytime you get an email that's like, this is urgent, needs to be done right now. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's usually a scammer.
That's a phishing. The phishing from IT. They're going to try to get you.
Yeah, that's phishing, but it's also like all these different things in there of like CEO scams where they pretend to CEO. Oh my God, I'm caught in Belize right now. If you don't wire me $10 million, they'll kill me. Okay, well, did you try calling him because he's just at the golf course?
Yeah.
Like that's the type of thing. And what he just asked though is like there's supposed to be a hiring process in the government of like how these things go. And it's like,
submit your resume and then you put it into the fillable field.
You don't just throw in a 19-year-old kid named Big Balls.
And then you have to go to 3 job interviews.
Yeah.
And then there's a 30-day onboarding process where you could get fired at any moment before your performance review, and you don't get health insurance until 90 days. There's a whole thing. Anyway, all this
and instead he was like, tweet me.
All of this is crazy because DOGE actually cut so many Social Security Administration workers that there's already an insane backlog. So they can't even help seniors that are already trying to get assistance.
Yep.
And so what I did was I looked it up. The Social Security Administration had 7,000 employees laid off. That was for regular Social Security, SSDI, and SSI. So that's disability, and SSI is like the middle ground. So like when you need a little bit more assistance, right? The recipients will have to do with fewer, they'll have issues because they're closing field offices. There's fewer staff to help answer questions and assist. It's actually going to double the disability backlog because in 2023, 71.6 million people receive benefits, and there are 5.8 million more people that are going to get awarded benefits this year. So like this backlog that's created by DOGE isn't going to be assisted by an on-app user experience being easier.
Yeah.
Seniors already have an issue using apps on their phone.
Well, no, yeah, and this is Joe, a guy who has come in before, famously like when they started Airbnb.
Yeah.
Of having less customer service.
Yeah.
No, we'll automate things. It'll be easy. They'll just click in the app. But it's like, yeah, but sometimes there's things that happen that you need to explain to a human being.
Yeah.
People have a different understanding. This is what always drives me crazy about engineers. Engineers would be like, well, yeah, then hit submit. I'm like, again, on the last page, you said enter.
Yeah.
Like, or you said finish or complete or any of these different things. Like they engineers have a different setting in their brain, which is why you need people who are UI people, user interface people. But then you also need people who have experience working with seniors.
Yeah.
And like seniors come from a completely different background. And then on top of that, the language and the wording that's used in the Northeast is going to be different for people that's used in the Southwest. And like all these different things are in there, like mixed in. And instead you're just surrounded by.
And that's why local offices are so important because there's people in person. And like, yes, the documentation sucks. And yes, it takes forever. But at the same time is like sitting down with a person who can explain to you why. Like I'll never forget. I had a client years ago who he was a junior of a junior. So like, let's say his name was Jim Smith Jr., but his dad was also Jim Smith Jr., and above that was Jim Smith. And so Social Security had like messed up stuff.
Yep.
And it was like all because they were juniors. And like, it was trying to get through that paperwork was such a pain, but I had a person who was helping me help him to get the paperwork figured out. But now he's trying to create it so that an AI app who is not going to be able to explain to an 80-year-old man that like the Social Security numbers lining up with the different juniors is the issue.
Yeah.
Ba 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 ba. And like it's so going to create a hurdle. Anyway.
Yeah.
What happened was I opened this tab because I was trying to figure out how can I see what the effects on Social Security were from DOGE? And I found out that there's this website called clasp.org, which is a website that tracks all the harm that DOGE has done. And so I thought, in the spirit of Joe, who says that DOGE is doing great work, I want to talk to you about some of the great work DOGE has done.
Okay, and this
that
is
I found on the website, clasp.org.
CLASP.org.
The Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the National Center for HIV, Viral Hepatitis, STD, and Tuberculosis Prevention. So under the CDC, this is another program. That program experienced 2,400 federal layoffs, which was about 18% of their entire workforce. The Center for HIV and STD Prevention saw 27% of its staff eliminated. Their work ensures that we could have a future free of HIV, viral hepatitis, sexual transmitted diseases, and tuberculosis. The center works to reduce the incidence of infection, morbidity, and mortality, and also reduces the health disparities in the U.S. and abroad.
So DOGE is pro-AIDS.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
And other STDs.
Yep.
And tuberculosis.
Tuberculosis. Get him, John Green.
The Center for Disease Control and Prevention's National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health.
Okay.
So there was a complete elimination of this department. 1,600 federal workers were laid off. What did they do? Let me tell you. The halt of services stopped the critical work that was working in the agricultural workforce, such as protecting thousands of workers from the H5N1 bird flu. Also, they supported over 900,000 farm youth workers who needed additional workplace safety protections.
So this was the CDC group whose job it is to make sure that people working in like meat packing plants and also working directly with animals don't have a disease jump from that animal into the worker populations.
Yes.
Which is how a lot of disease spreads.
Yes, and also supporting young people that are working in farms and those factories and plants.
Yeah. Because what we need,
they need extra safety protocols.
Yeah, because again, DOGE is anti-OSHA.
Yeah.
Because OSHA gets in the way of capitalist pigs like Chris Benoit here.
Yeah. The Department of Homeland Security used to have a department called the Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties within the Department of Homeland Security.
Oh, we don't need that.
They completely eliminated this department. They laid off everybody.
Yeah, well, Renee Good and Alex Pretty definitely, felt the needs of that.
What did the Office of Civil Rights and Civil Liberties do? They were the internal watchdog office of DHS that assessed the legality and effectiveness and implementation of administration policies. So there is no longer any internal watchdog for the Trump administration and immigration enforcement.
Yeah, so that's why we end up having kids being served rotted meal-ridden food at Dilley, the Dilley Detention Center down in Texas. That's how we have women who are being moved, who are pregnant, being moved from areas where they could get full access to care to states that have abortion banned.
Yeah.
That's why we have so many different horrible things that are happening in there. But I'm not shocked that they wanted to remove that from DHS, since the former director of DHS didn't know that her husband had big old fake bimbo titties.
Well, he puts them on. He doesn't have them.
No, he has them. I mean, they're balloons.
Okay.
They're balloons that he blew up, that he shoved underneath his shirt, and then he went, look at my big old fake bimbo titties.
The Center for Disease Control and Prevention's National Center for Injury Prevention and Control, also known as the NCIPC, they completely eliminated this department. The NCIPC studied how to prevent gun violence, child abuse, and elder abuse.
Okay, so DOGE is pro-gun violence, child abuse, and elder abuse?
Yes.
That checks for somebody in the Epstein files, right, Elon?
Yeah.
Remember how many times you messaged Epstein saying, please let me into your party boat house, please?
And he said, nah, dork. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Community Living. This is the ACL.
Okay.
At least 40% of the workers were laid off, and DOGE has plans to shutter the ACL completely by the end of the year. This agency funds the work of over 2,500 community organizations nationwide, including senior centers, centers for independent living. It helps people with disabilities and more. In addition, the ACL runs programs like Meals on Wheels, which distributes 216 million meals a year to older and disabled people.
Yeah, because DOGE is pro having people starve to death. They're pro having seniors be left in the streets. They just hate everybody.
Yeah.
They hate everybody.
And the last one I pulled was, there's a lot of them. I didn't go through all of them. This is just a few that I pulled out.
Do you have a USAID in there?
I didn't have
Oh, because that's going to kill millions.
Explain.
USAID, which is the USAID, it was an aid organization that the United States had to help countries and people all around the world, whether it be to get life-saving medication, making sure life-saving food came in there, or any of these different types of things. Elon specifically went out of his way to destroy that organization illegally. They were not allowed to do it, but they just did it anyway. And by doing that, he immediately shut down things like bags of rice.
Yeah.
So rice that was being grown in Arkansas, Mississippi, and other different places are no longer going to be sent to places like Pakistan or India after an earthquake.
Yeah.
When you're in Southeast Asia after a major typhoon hits. When you're looking at all these different places where they have drought and famine, we would send bags of American rice, American flour that had USAID on there. And those bags made people happy, and they made people like America. And but most importantly, though, it kept people alive.
Yeah.
And there have been studies that have said that millions of people will die by the end of this decade because that aid has been forever cut off and it's not being replaced by anybody else.
Yeah.
There's an idea in diplomacy of a carrot and a stick. Mm-hmm. The carrot was USAID. The stick has been what Donald Trump has been doing for the last fucking month.
Yeah.
Including threatening to wipe a civilization out. And threatening to kill so many people on Easter Sunday itself.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things, just to let that, Joe, just so you know, when you said you love DOGE,
Yeah.
you personally have lended your hand to the murder of millions of people. I just want you to know, Joe, like that is, the world is a worse place because you were born.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Alex Perlman, also known as Pearlmania 500, right here on the comedy podcast, Too Many Tabs.
Oh, okay.
Where nothing we say is that serious
Yeah,
because
this is
we
a comedy history podcast.
we just do our own
Opinions,
research.
You know, I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, right? The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA.
Oh, I forgot about this.
I don't.
Oh.
I remember it every single fucking morning because there was 1,300 federal layoffs. NOAA oversees many institutions that collect and organize the data and tracking for weather and climate change. Now, they're doing this because they're like, climate change isn't real. But how this is affecting your day-to-day as a person in the world is when you open your phone app for the weather, it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's always wrong.
Yeah.
They said it was going to rain and freeze this morning, and it's 50 and sunny.
Yeah.
Because they laid off so many people at NOAA,
And
the
shut down
weather,
systems.
and shut down all the systems, it's like you cannot get the weather right. And like for me, that's just about like what type of clothes I'm putting on myself or the child or what I'm doing in the garden. Like there's minimal effect on my life. This has huge effects on agriculture, on our farmers, on scientists, on NASA. This is like, the impact is so big.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time as like, it was the lightest one I could find out of all these DOGE cuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I'm talking about horrors of millions of people dying, suffering, and starving. And I'm like, how do I close this episode on not that big of a deal? But like it is a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
And I'm really mad about it every single morning because it personally affects me. But then I also remember that it affects our agriculture and our farmers.
Everything these idiots did had a knock-on effect.
Yeah.
The founders of Airbnb helped destroy housing.
Yes.
That's the thing you guys need to understand. And the founders of Airbnb, by destroying housing the way they did, and actually which also pushed up rents, led to the inflation crisis that actually ended up putting Donald Trump back into fucking power.
Yeah.
Because whenever everybody was complaining back in 2022 and 2023 about prices, the biggest squeeze there was rent. We saw properties that were being rented for $600, $700, $800 go up to $2,400 across the country. You can't get a rental. You can't live alone anymore. It's impossible.
Yeah.
The minimum wage doesn't cover it. The lowest wage in many of these states, you can't get a one bedroom. You can't live with dignity. And then on top of that, the places you could have lived with dignity, that at least you wouldn't have had to own a fucking car or have a long commute, these fuckers gobbled up and turned into short-term rentals. And so this is where we are. This is where we're stuck. So whenever you're sitting around and somebody asks you how to get this bad, first say Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, always say Ronald Reagan first and foremost.
First.
It's always his fault.
It's always his fault.
Trust. If you open enough tabs, you will find Ronald Reagan.
But the next layer is going to be your tech billionaires, many of which ran to Austin, Texas because they're big old pussies. That's why. All these guys, they're fucking cowards who can't actually create anything of their own. They had to make our homes into hotels, our cars into taxis, and our entire lives into thrift stores while always screaming that they are the ones with the greatest ideas. And you know what? They're not, because even themselves, they're copying the guys and the fucking barons and the robber barons and the Gilded Age fuckers from the 1890s.
Yeah.
But you know,
they didn't invent Captain Crunch. They just bought off-brand Captain Crunch.
Yeah, they bought bottom shelf Cheerios and then put it inside of an empty box.
They're called Honey-O's.
Just
Booty-O's.
Booty-O's, though. Booty-O's never hurt anyone, except for what Vince McMahon did with the money that he made from the...
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
You know what?
You know what?
This has been our episode. Thank you to everybody who supports us at ProMania500.net. We love you. We'll see you next week, every Sunday at noon for a new episode. Check your subscription tab.